got Dolly with me, and she is in her lovely Christmas themed sweater. We've done Christmas sweaters every year for the last 4 years. Maybe it's been 3. But I've got a number of Christmas sweaters for Snakes that we can do. These are so good because, oh wait, hang on. I gotta turn myself down because I'm in my own ear, and I don't want that happening. There we go. Fix that. Okay. Hi, everybody. Anyway, can everybody hear me okay? Everything's let's see, hang on. There we go. Hi, everybody. We got a bunch of people in already. Let me just show you Dolly. Here we go. With her delightful gingerbread man sweater. Probably the most comfortable thing that you can have a snake wear. Hats, not so much. I think most snakes are annoyed by hats. Not all. You know, some snakes are less head shy than others and probably aren't bothered by a hat. But snakes like to have things squeeze them. You know, they like to feel something. So I feel like this might be comfortable, at least not annoying, but maybe it's comfortable to wear. I don't know. Anyway, glad to see you all here. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to get the setup changes every time I do a live stream. The setup changes. What I'm trying to do is have a perfect setup for the 24-hour live stream, which is going to happen next month on the 17th, starting at 8 a.m. my time on the 17th Pacific time, and going till 8 a.m. Pacific time on the 18th. And I want to have things set for it. So I think we're good so far, though. All right. So I'm seeing a bunch of other people jumping in, a bunch of people saying hello. For those of you who are new, keep in mind that I'm not going to see the chat most of the time. I will see super chats because they highlight. So if you have a question that you want me specifically to answer, you can super chat it and I'll see it. But you can also just ask it in the chat and keep your eye on the chat, and other experienced keepers will answer your question. So you don't have to put money into super chat for me to see it. The whole point of super chat is that it will highlight it. I'll see the thing. And our very own Amy Bentley, who is here, will also see it.
Hi guys.
Hey, look at your headband. Is that a headband situation? Oh my gosh. That might be better than my hat situation.
I got jealous that you were wearing a fancy hat.
And let's
with a poinsettia on it. And I was like, I can beat your poinsettia for sure.
So in the 5 minute, you jumped in 5 minutes before we went live. You saw my hat when you jumped in, and in that time you put together that whole situation that's on your head right now.
So we are sitting in my belly dance closet.
I know.
My belly dance closet is literally 3 feet that way.
I know. So you've got all your belly dancing stuff, so you can just grab anything. Also, you've got a mustachioed straw, which is very festive.
I do.
What are you
drinking? This is my Santa straw.
What's that?
I am drinking mulled wine because
Ooh.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Let's real quick, while we're talking about it, we'll talk about what I'm drinking. I haven't started yet, but I got this Redbreast. So Redbreast is one of my 2 favorite Irish whiskeys. And this is a new one, at least new to me. This is their Listowel edition. So it's sherry cask, matured in sherry cask, Oloroso sherry, which Oloroso sherry cask whiskeys are delightful. Okay, so we've lost a sweater. We'll try to get one back on. But more importantly, I want to try this first. Sláinte, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Hi,
guys.
So good. That's now my favorite. So I hope that's available at all times because it's delicious. I mean, it's not something that I would buy all the time. because it's not the cheapest thing in the world. But man, it's really good. It's so sherry is a very sweet. I don't even know what sherry is. I guess sherry is wine that's been turned into liquor. Somebody put in the comments if I'm right in saying that. But it's super sweet. So when you take whiskey and mature it in a cask that sherry has been in, it gets that flavor of the sherry in the whiskey, and it makes it just sweeter, and it's lovely. So, Amy, you'll have to try some when you come to the green room next.
Okay, sounds good. Don't drink it all before I get there.
Okay, so I probably will. I'll get another bottle. But Amy, how's your life? We haven't seen you in several live streams. You've been so busy with work and all kinds of stuff. It's nice to have you back.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah.
Life is pretty okay. Yeah, just busy.
Okay. Well, keep talking. Wait, hang on. I don't know where this girl is. Okay, I found it.
Shenanigans already. We've been here for less than 7 minutes, and we already have snake shenanigans.
We got snake shenanigans already. I'm gonna keep the sweater off of her. All right. Well, look, it's nice to have you back. You're gonna flag me if I miss a super chat, and
I'll do it.
We'll have you in and out and all that stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye, Amy.
Bye, guys.
Dumped her out right as she was saying bye, guys. All right, let's make sure that we didn't miss anything as I was chatting with Amy because I wasn't paying attention. Okay. There we go. All right. So, Dolly, one of her morphs is calico, and she has such a nice expression of calico. I've got some babies in the baby rack right now that were made available to Patreon last week, and they all got reserved to Patreon folks, and that's very exciting. I got a snake coming up onto my hat, onto the back of it. Side there we go. And some of those babies, a few of those babies are calico. And the interesting thing is that the calico doesn't show great as babies. It's every time the snake sheds, you get more and more calico. And that's what's been happening with Dolly. Every time she sheds, we get a little bit more calico. Same with her sister, Tiger Lily. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Coach Andrew McKibben, thanks for the super chat. Getting my first BCI boa after Christmas. Advice? Yeah, I mean, boy, I could give you lots of boa advice. I have a care guide on boas. You may have seen it. BCI is great. That's the boa imperator for those who don't know, and that's a great choice. They're hardy. Once you know what you're doing, they're easy to take care of. They're not much different than a ball python. So, yeah, good choice. Katie Lolly, Amy's sister is in. That's Katie, you guys. Katie says, "Happy Chrysler, Bob. Love you. Nice stash, sis." Oh, that's nice. So Chrysler would be, hang on, Amy, I'm just going to bring you on to ask you something real quick. Amy, happy Chrysler. Is that Katie's way of saying Christmas?
Yeah. There was a thing on the internet a while ago where it was like this nervous person and they were like, "Happy Chrysler, Merry Crisis." And it was just like all different, like wrong ways to say Christmas that kind of sound similar.
Oh, that's very funny.
That's Katie's favorite. I like to say Merry Crisis.
Merry Crisis.
And Brady's favorite is did you know if you change the letters in the word Christmas, it spells shit scram? And yeah,
That's
and
great.
we know this because my mom has like little blocks that spell out like Merry Christmas, and we always rearrange them to spell different things.
That's really funny. I love it.
So that's Brady's favorite.
Oh, love it.
But yeah, that's what it is. Also, I'm not using my Santa straw anymore because I didn't like drinking wine through a straw.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm just drinking out of my hot mug.
Okay. I once went on a date with a young lady who we went to a pretty nice place in Hollywood, and she ordered wine, which is a classy thing to order. But then she proceeded to drink it out of a straw, or drink it with a straw. Drink it out of the glass, but with a straw, which
Very nice.
I thought was a bold move. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Thanks for that info, Amy. Katie, thanks for
two
your
super chats.
chat.
You got 3 super chats.
I know. Okay, here we go. I'm getting to them right now. All right. Where are we at? Okay. Jake the Snake, thanks for the super chat. I just lost it, but I'm getting there. Bob, congrats again on the subscribers. Looking forward to the 24-hour live stream. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. Yeah, so for those who don't know, the reason that we're doing the 24-hour live stream is that we hit 100,000 subscribers last week, and that's very exciting. The YouTube sent me the plaque a couple days ago. It's right there. And so we're doing the 24-hour live stream. So thank you, everyone, for your subscribes and for watching and for enjoying the channel, because I really love to make the channel. Red Sonia, thanks for the super chat. Got your note. Love your stickers. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you got it. That is, I send things out to Patreon supporters, and Sonia's. I've been late on a number of them. I had a mix up with the thing that tracks what I've sent and what I haven't sent, and I'm still a little bit mixed up. Some people have gotten their sticker packs and their T-shirts and stuff a little bit late, but I'm getting them out. We're getting there. Thanks for your patience, everyone. And Sonia, glad you got yours. Okay. Oh man, we got all sorts of. Look, watch this. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so I'm just going to try to keep my hat on as Dolly. Do you guys like this camera angle? I just came up with the angle about 20 minutes before we started the live stream, because I thought it's fun to watch what the snake's doing when they're crawling up on the hat, right? Let me know what you think of my different camera angles. We have several of them. Chris Barth, thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you have a question or comment to go along with that. Maybe you do. Hang on. I see that you just said couldn't ask my question. I see it. I see it. How do I know when to up the live feed for my ball python? So whether it's live or frozen thawed, I always recommend frozen thawed, but regardless whether you're feeding live or frozen thawed, you just want to feed something that is, if the snake is young, you want to feed something that's 10 to 15% of the snake's body weight. If they're more of an adult size snake, the largest you want to feed a male is a small rat, and the largest you'd feed a female is a medium rat. And you know, the other way to do it for a young ball python is to feed them something that's about the same size as the thickest part of their body. Don't do that once they're this size, though. She eats much smaller meals than the thickest part of her body. So that is the basics on how to do it. But I've talked about that. There's at least one, maybe a couple of videos out. I can't remember what's out right now and what's not, but there's at least one video on feeding that's out right now that's recent, where I talk about stuff like that. And then there's another one coming out. We're kind of doing a series of feeding videos because I'm getting a lot of questions from people. So we're addressing the questions in those series of videos. Okay, I think we got them all. Thanks for the super chats, you guys. I appreciate it. So today we got some stuff to do today, aside from going through the copious amount of questions from Patreon. We got some really good Q&A going. I've got later on this evening, we're going to feed some snakes. We're going to show off a bunch of snakes. I'm going to put Dolly back here pretty soon. Because I want to bring out some other snakes. And what was the other thing that we were gonna? What else are we up to? We're gonna maybe feed some snakes. That's it so far. That's it. Okay, let's get started on. Let's get started on these Patreon questions from the clipboard. I could, I don't have to use the clipboard. I could do it from the computer. I have a couple of screens that I could pull it up and do it from the computer. But the clipboard is helpful to me because I can go through, and a lot of times the questions, the Patreon supporters are very thorough when asking a question. And a lot of times it's an entire page. So I make these a lot shorter, and it saves us a little bit of time in going through, where I try to just get to the point of the question. And then I just print it out. I guess I don't have to print it out. It could just be in a Word document, right? All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we go. Crisis Corp says, what's the most obnoxious Christmas gift you've gotten? I would say the one thing that comes to mind was recent. And it was maybe 2 years ago. My nephew got me a pile of Corporalite. And Corporalite sounds like a really impressive gem. And it kind of is. It's an impressive rock, but what it is petrified poop. So the guess is that it's poop from a giant sloth, petrified, but it looks like a pile of poop, basically. So that was pretty obnoxious. I mean, really interesting, but also, obnoxious. So, Christina says, have you figured out a solution to Maya, the destroyer of plants, uprooting the plants in her enclosure? Well, let's just take a look over here at Maya's enclosure. Oh, Echo's out. That's cool. What's the better? I think you have a better view actually over my shoulder there. Pretty desolate enclosure. She actually does have one plant in there that you can't see from any of the. Maybe she's sitting on it right now. There is one green plant that's alive in there. Otherwise, no. No is the answer to that question. No, I haven't. At MCZSK6751, thanks for the super chat. Hi from Slovakia and Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh, Merry Christmas. I bet you're the furthest away. Is anyone further away than California, USA, than Slovakia? Is anybody watching from somewhere further away? Thanks for that super chat. Okay. Amy says there's petrified. She has petrified tortoise poop. Hang on. Let me see if I can get the chat. Oh, I can. So I can highlight comments. Oh, I don't like how that looks. I got to change the font on that. I can highlight comments that aren't super chats for some reason in this new program that I'm using, but I can't highlight super chats, which is a little crazy. Okay. Denmark, Poland. I don't know which one is further away because I don't have a map of the world in my brain. I don't even hardly have a map of the United States in my brain. Like, I know where Florida is and a couple other things. I could point out Texas on a map. But Denmark, Poland, Slovakia. There's someone in the UK. Sydney, Australia, that's probably the furthest away. Actually, I bet Sydney is further away than Slovakia. But when I say Slovakia, in my brain, that seems as far as you could possibly go in the world from where I'm at right now. I bet it's not actually. New Zealand, cool. I love this. Thanks for joining from so far away, you guys. For a lot of you, that means that this is probably not the most convenient time in the world for you to join. I bet some of you are watching this at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, such like that. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, Taylor, I think you're right. Australia wins. I think that's probably the furthest away. Okay, I'm putting Dolly back, and we'll get somebody else. Hang on 1 second. Dolly's going back, and oh, you know what? I have an idea. Actually, put in the comments who you'd like to see. I'll take requests. Not everybody is available, but I think most snakes are available probably. One popular snake that's in deep shed right now is Stella. So Stella won't be out tonight unless she decides to shed. If Stella decides to shed while we're doing this, that'd be fun. I just haven't seen her in days, so I have no idea where she's at in the process. Okay, let me look at what your responses are here. We got Echo. Is Echo still out? Yeah, she is. Okay, she's probably looking for food. That might be a fun one. Squeak. we could bring Squeak out. We got a lot of people saying Pip and Echo. Pip is a little bit difficult to get to. I think I could do it, but I tell you what, let me do Squeak. Might be a little bit. The reason Pip is difficult to get to is that she's actually the closest snake to me. I could almost reach her, but all my equipment is set up right around her cage. So going around to the back and opening the door is tricky, but I could probably do it. All right. Basically, everyone is saying Pip and Echo. Let's try to get Echo out. Let's see what happens if we get Echo out. All right. There she is. Hey, Mama, you want to come out? Echo's been coming out recently, and we'll just see what she does. I like to open her door and just see what she does. She spent all day in a potted plant yesterday. You may have seen a video that I did on that, and let's see. Hang on. Okay, I'm seeing the request for Dan. Don't need to request that anymore. I got it. We just don't want to flood the chat with the same thing. Here. I could take Dan out while I can take Dan out while we're waiting for Echo to figure out what she's doing. Oh no, hold on. That's not true. I was thinking I saw Dan, and I was in my brain I was thinking Ron. That wasn't a request for Ron. That was a request for Handsome Dan. And Handsome Dan is a possibility, although I think he's probably in shed too because I haven't seen him in a few days. And he's a tricky one, but we can try it. I just don't want to try it right now. Yeah, I could show some Freya babies. I'm sure that we'll get some Freya babies out. Red Sonia's asking for baby number 8. There's a request for Dave. That's a real tricky one. We could try that just for the fun of it at some point. Let me get number 8 out real fast, and then we'll go back to Echo. So these babies, I made a video that's going to be out in a couple weeks, spoiler alert, about switching babies from live to frozen thawed and switching babies from mice to rats. And in that video, I had several of these babies, that a couple of them that needed to switch from live to frozen thawed, and a couple that needed to switch from mice to rats. And I did it last night and recorded it. So spoiler alert, but I got them all to switch, which I did not expect at all. But everybody did what they were supposed to do. And I was shocked. But look how pretty this little one is. Number 8. There's going to be an entire video about just this particular snake actually coming out in, it's going to be a while, I think, until that one's out, but it's being worked on. Candy's Critters, thanks for the super chat. Did you have a question to go along with it? Christy, yes, this is your new girl. That's right. Christy's in the chat. These are this whole clutch is reserved by some awesome Patreon supporters who are going to give them great homes. Okay. Let's all right, let's see what Echo's up to. I'm going to put this baby back and try to bring Echo out before she gets into food mode. Hey, Mama. What's going on here? You see that that's me? See that that's not food? Okay. Okay. Well, that wasn't tricky at all. All right. So here's Echo. Echo's getting so big. Oh man, she looks a little bit loaded. Like not immediately, but it definitely could happen. I don't want to be dealing with reticulated python poop everywhere during a live stream. You see that? You can tell right there with that shot. Here. Let's see if this is a better. Oh, the lighting's not good with this camera. This camera is better just to see the cages. But look at how big she's getting. Right? She's become a large lady. I'm not going to keep her out very long because the longer I keep her out, the higher the chances of poop. Okay, Thomas, thanks for the super chat. Hang on. Hang on. I'm almost there. Okay. Thomas says, hey, Bob, love you and your videos. Oh, thanks. Lots of love from Canada. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, have a quick question. Thank you so much for all that, by the way. If you could have only one snake in your entire snake room, which one would you choose? That's such a tough question because that's the same question as saying, who's your favorite snake? Unless you're not talking about of my snakes, Thomas. Put in the comments, Thomas, if you're talking about my snakes, because that's a hard one to answer. If I was just saying in general, Boland's python has been on my #1 list forever. If I had to start all over and I got to have any snake in the world, it might be a Boland's python. If I only could keep what I've said before, as far as my snakes, is that if I could only keep one species, it would be the super dwarf reticulated python. However, the amethystine python or scrub python is giving the super dwarves a run for their money as far as my enjoyment of handling them and keeping them and such like that. But Douglas is still very young, and I'd like to see how he is when he gets older, you know. All right, I gotta figure out what's going on here. Oh, hi, Mama. See, here's what she'll do. She'll get up on this chair. She'll get up on that chair and get into food mode. She's sitting. You guys can't see. There we go. She's sitting now in food mode with big eyes. That is not what I want. That is not what I'm trying to do. Okay, Mama, come on. You got to go back. All right, quick. That was a quick visit with Echo. No, Mama, you got to stay in. So the more we get into evening with her, the trickier she is to deal with, because she will slip right into food mode. I spent a lot of time with her yesterday before I let her go off on her own. I spent a little bit of time with her this morning with no problem, no worry about her slipping into food mode. Amy is flagging me down. Hang on. Hi, Amy.
Hello. Hi. Hey, so Candy's Critters had left you a super chat without a question.
Oh, yes.
A little farther down, she says, "It looks so festive in the green room, and I like the hat cam. Happy holidays to the Horde and all who've not yet joined. Has Pip outgrown her jewelry box yet?"
Oh, that's so nice. That's a jewelry box that you gifted Pip, actually. Candy's Critters, thanks for saying all those things. Pip, technically, yes, she has outgrown the jewelry box. And I think she could still fit in there, but she hasn't been in there for a long time, and that tells me she's probably outgrown it. Squeak, though, so Amy, you gave me a pile of little boxes, and which was great. And Squeak now is using 2 of them, the smallest 2 that you gave me. Squeak uses. Pip, I think, could still fit in that, but Black Box Hides made me a custom hide for Pip that was always way too big, and she never went in there. Now she's in there every day, and that's her favorite hide. So, all right.
Did you also see there was a super chat from Tanya Snake Whisperer that did not have something? Did you see her
no
question?
I didn't. No.
Okay.
Tanya, thanks for this.
Tanya Snake Whisperer would like to know about house snakes.
Oh, I see that super chat. What about house snakes? Was there? I want to know about house snakes. Yep. I see it. House snakes are cool. They are. I have 2 of them, and they're delightful. They're fast. They're faster than pythons in general, and they stay small. That's what I can say. And they're lovely, and they come in all kinds of different colors. I have an orange one and a purple one. They're great. All right. Thanks, Amy. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thanks for that. Here we go. Okay. So you guys were asking to see Pip. Let me see if I can get to her. And actually, Amy, I'm going to bring you back on because this might take me a minute. Amy, will you tell us about your false water cobra? I want to know how Dodger is.
Sure. Dodger is doing well. She is in full shed right now, so that's why she's not here with me. She is still a very enthusiastic eater when she's in full shed, but she's really bad at aiming for her food. It's very scary to feed her when she's in full shed. But she's doing well. She's a cute little bean. Haven't had any problems with stuck shed on her tail anymore, so that's good. Hey, can we see Pip and Squeak at the same time?
Here's my problem. I have no idea what you said. I just said, I want to know how Dodger is. And then I unplugged my headphones and I couldn't hear a thing.
Well, now it's a secret and I'm not telling you.
Okay, so I'm gonna show Pip off. We'll talk about Dodger later.
Can we see Pip and Squeak at the same time so we can see the size difference?
Yeah, we can do that. But
Okay,
check
thanks.
this out. Okay, I'm gonna hide you so I can show this whole thing. So Pip was in that hide. So this is the hide that Black Box Cages made special for Pip. It's got their logo on it. And I just grabbed Pip and the hide all at once because she was in the hide. And now the hide fits her nicely. So pretty good size on this girl. You guys, are some of you surprised at her size right now? Hi, Pippers. Little one. Let's get you unfurled. So she's getting close to full grown. She still has a bit of growing to do, but she will not be much bigger than this. So tiny snake. Now Squeak is way tinier. Pip is I think Pip is like 50 grams or something, and Squeak is 11 grams. So Squeak has a bit of growing to do. But Black Box made this hide for Pip when I first got her. So she's had this hide pretty much her whole life. And just now it's become a hide that she can use really well. And I don't think she'll ever outgrow this hide. Like, I think this is going to be her. You want to go into it, lady? Here, I'll put it in my hand. You go in there. Nobody's going to know where you are. You're so good at hiding. You guys, she's just disappearing. She's like a magic act. She's like a magician. You don't know where she is. You have no idea where she went. Anyway. Pip is great. Yeah, I think every time I bring Pip out at this size, people are always shocked because I think, in your memory, you guys who have been watching the channel for a while, I think, and same with me, my memory is kind of locked on the image of her when I first got her, when she was 9 grams. And she's quite a bit bigger now. But just funny that this is a 3-year-old snake, Hey, don't get into the microphone, lady. All right. I'll let you do your thing. Red Sonia says, thanks for the super chat, Red Sonia. House snakes are the absolute best snake ever. House snakes are what Sonia has, you guys, just so you know. This is a biased opinion. But house snakes are the absolute best snake ever. I have 15 in residence and more on the way, and they are so sweet and wonderful and adorable. They really are. They're pretty great. They're pretty great. Thanks for that super chat, Sonia. Yak NY, thanks for the super chat. Merry Christmas, Bob. Thanks for your videos. I decided to get my first ball python, Elowin, in September after following for a few months. Best decision ever. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that you made that decision, and I'm glad that you like the decision. Because I think for some people, they make the decision to buy a snake, and then they go, I don't know. I could have done without this. But I think for the majority of people, when you don't buy a snake on a whim, right? For the majority of people, they go, man, this was awesome because what a cool animal. And it's taking no time at all, really, to take care of it. So, Chris, I just saw your comment that you had your Aussie out. I think I might bring my Aussie out. Are you guys familiar with who Aussie is? Because that's a new snake for me. But I think I've only talked about him maybe once on the channel in one video, but I could bring him out. He's pretty awesome. Aussie is my rough scale python. He's tiny. He's a little guy. But he's doing well. He's really interesting because I'm working on socializing him, and there are some snakes that go from being unsocialized to pretty well socialized pretty quickly. Like it's a big leap. They just one day realize, oh, this scary guy isn't going to hurt me, so I don't need to be scared. And Ozzy seems to he's incrementally getting better. Like I'm seeing the change every day. He'll spend a little bit more time tongue flicking on my hand before he decides to retreat. Stuff like that. Like each day, it's a little bit better. So I'm doing a lot of choice-based stuff. He doesn't choose to crawl out onto my hand, but a lot of showing him my hand and not messing with him, stuff like that. And fortunately, usually he's on I've got this like fencing in his tub that he can sit on. And so if I want to bring him out, I can bring the whole fencing out, which is less stressful on him, I think. But I think right now he's in a hide. So when I get him out, I'll just bring him out. Okay, so this is a good time to get Squeak since Pip is just hanging out on the mic. So let me grab Squeak. Be right back. So I put him on a hook. It's less stressful for him to come out on a hook than having me reach my giant paws in for him. But he's not really a shy snake, but I just think that's scary. He's so tiny that I kind of have to pinch his body with my fingers to get him, and I don't want to do that. So look at this size difference here. Okay, so I'm trying to get it so that we don't really have any put that back in. So I want to have them in the same equidistant. I mean, he's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. Look at this little dude. Right? My camera won't autofocus, so it's not going to be the best focus in the world, but anyway, cute little pygmy pythons. Okay, so for those who don't know, I should explain Pip and Squeak. These are pygmy pythons. These are the smallest python species in the world. They're from Australia, and like I said, Pip is almost full grown. She'll grow a little bit more, but she's not going to get much bigger than that. She's generally going to be around this size. And Squeak is, I don't know how old Squeak is. He's maybe 5 or 6 months old. Katie, thanks for the super chat. Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thanks for that super chat. Good to see you on here, Katie. Let's see if I've missed any others. Oh, I have. Hang on. Oh, no, I haven't. I have not missed any others. Okay, great. So, hey, look at this. That's your boyfriend. That's your future boyfriend. What do you think of him? I don't want you to really meet him because I think you could eat him at this point. I would not put it past you, young lady. So this guy has been eating micro pinkies. That's what I've been feeding him. And I'm out of micro pinkies. And so I just checked today. He's due to eat today. And I went, oh, here, I'll just size him up to pinkies. And I looked at the pinkies and they look so big compared to a micro pinky. And I was like, no, there's no way. So I actually got him. I'm usually pretty good at eyeballing and just going, he can take that. But I actually went and got him because he's so small that you don't want to make a gross miscalculation. I brought him over to the freezer and I pulled out a pinky, and it's a regular day old pinky is a little bit thicker than the thickest part of his body. It's about 20% of his weight, little less than he's 11 grams and the pinky is 2 grams. So he can eat it. So I'm going to give him That will be the biggest meal he's ever had. And he'll take it just fine. But look at that. Look at that size difference. How cute are pygmy pythons, you guys, right? Okay, I'm gonna get her. I want to get her tangled in the mic a little bit so that, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna put him back real fast. And I'll be right back with you. I'm really excited to produce these snakes at some point. You know, pygmy pythons are pretty rare in the pet trade. There's not many people that breed them. And, you know, there's a reason that ball pythons are the most popular, you know. Jenna, I see your super chat. Thanks for that. Hang on one second. There's a reason ball pythons are the most popular. They fit most people, what most people want. But I think there's a lot of people that have seen Pip and Squeak and have watched Pip grow up, and they're like, "Oh, I think I want a pygmy python." It's a great choice if you don't want a large snake, you know, or if you already have a large snake or 2 or 3 or whatever, and you want to go for the smaller one. And same with the black-headed pythons. They're not for everybody, but for the people that are like, "Yeah, I like that." You know, I want to be able to, you know, produce black-headed pythons, which is probably going to happen within the year. I think I'll start pairing them probably at some point in 2026. Jenna, thanks for the super chat. Happy holidays. Getting a coastal carpet in the spring. Oh, that's awesome. Maybe I'll bring my coastal carpet out. Any major differences in temperament between the Brettles and your coastal? My snakes must know you're on. Everyone is asking to come out. Oh, that's funny. I only have one of each, Jenna, as you know, and so it's hard for me to say. But I will say generally that I know that a Brettles python is going to be, as far as temperament, is going to be the easiest temperament generally of any snake that you have. With my snakes, I'll say that my coastal has never tried to bite me. She's never been defensive at all. She's always just been the sweetest, and she's a little more bold than Koa is, but that's probably has to do with Koa's a morph. He's hypo, and hypo in Brettles pythons tends to be more reactive. So they're a little spicier apparently. He's not spicy at all, but he is more shy. So I see her out. I see my coastal out more than my Brettles. But I don't think that's a thing between coastals and Brettles. I think generally, if you don't get a hypo Brettles python, you're just going to have a snake that's going to be out all the time and doesn't worry about anything. And Koa is, you know, he's still he's like a year and a half old, and he's getting more bold as the days go by. I see him out a little bit more, but Bella is still out more than he is. Okay. That's cool though. Congrats on your new coastal. I assume you're getting that from Riley. Zepmaster, thank you for the super chat. Vote for Antaresia as best snakes ever. I love my Stimson's pythons. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty great. They have the same temperament as a ball python or a Brettles python in general. Most of them are very food responsive, which is a great thing also. But they're smaller. So some people are looking for a larger snake. Some people want something closer to a super dwarf retic or a large ball python type of thing. But if you're not necessarily looking for a big snake, the little ones are cool. The Antaresias are great. And really, Stimson's python, children's python, those are like a thin ball python. You know, they're 4 to 5 feet. They're not tiny. This one is tiny. The pygmies are tiny, but other Antaresia are a little bigger, and they're just great. Zinnia Tell, thanks for the super chat. Sending the question down below. Okay. Hey Bob, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Denmark. Thanks. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. I would really love to know if it might be possible for you to ship to Denmark one day. Thank you so much for your time. You know, it's not really. This is one of the Patreon. Oh, I got to get to these Patreon questions. Somebody on Patreon is asking about that too. You know, it can be done, but it's so expensive to do that usually when people are shipping reptiles overseas, they're putting a big crate together and the money gets dispersed across all those reptiles, and they all go through long shipping process because there's vet checks that have to happen and tons of paperwork and stuff like that. So it's a long way of saying probably not. It would be tough. Okay, let me get back to these Patreon questions. So Aaron says, so Erin has a snake that she loves very much that came from me named Nix, and I love how enthusiastic Erin is about this snake. She says, any baby from Bob is a great baby. Nix has been amazing, and I can't wait to see how this new one is. She reserved one from Freya's recent clutch. I think I'm going with the name Willow or River. I don't know, but they stand out to me. Bob, does she look like a willow or a river? I think she looks like a river to me. Here, I'll show you guys. Hang on. I'm gonna put Pip back. Everybody say goodbye to Pip. I'll put Pip back, and then I will get out Aaron's snake. And you guys can say in the chat what you think. Okay. Oh, wait. Pip doesn't go back there. She goes over here. Hang on. With her hide, I got to put her hide back. Talk amongst yourselves. You guys are good at doing that. I should have put Amy back on. Sorry about that. Amy's really good at entertaining at the last minute, and I didn't even think about it. All right, there goes Pip. Okay. And that's probably the last time I'll trip on all that equipment. All right, Aaron's snake. Hi, little one. Okay. Here's Aaron's little snake. River or Willow for this one? I have a snake named Willow, so when I hear that name, I think of my Willow. I love the name River, though. I think that's a great name. Those are two names from Joss Whedon series characters. Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and River from why can't I think of it, you guys? Somebody tell me what I'm thinking of. Just with the name River, what's the series? I'm just waiting for somebody to say it. There's going to be somebody that's going to say it and think I'm so dumb that I can't think of the name of one of my favorite series ever. Thanks, Azara. Firefly. You guys, Firefly was the best. So good. Everybody's saying, oh, and we got it Serenity too. Yeah, Serenity is the movie version of Firefly. But if you guys haven't seen Firefly, go back and watch it. Best series ever. Canceled way too early. It was a crime. Anyway, River. Oh, I'm sorry, young one. I startled her. All right, so you guys have put your votes in. My vote is for River. Okay. This little one is going back. Beautiful little snake. Okay. Hi, Fizzy. Thanks for the super chat. Merry Christmas, Bob. Rhubarb gets his dinner tonight, and it lines up. That all the others eat this week too. Christmas dinner for all our snakes. How many of yours get lucky enough to eat this week? Most of them are eating this week. Oh, that's not true. Most of my females are not. I think they get food next week. They get Happy New Year meals. It's either a Merry Christmas meal or a Happy New Year meal, right? Thanks for that super chat, Fizzy. Doctor Who also has a river. Yeah, that's right. Also, Doctor Who, great. Such a good series that wasn't canceled, right? There's so many seasons that you can watch of Doctor Who. I recommend watching the black and white after you've watched the most recent ones. But the black and whites are great too. Byron, thanks for the super chat. Let me know what your question is below that if you can. If you have a question or comment to go with that, I'll keep my eye out for it. While we're waiting for that, Amy, could you keep your eye out for that one too? Because I'm going to go on to one more Patreon question. This is another one from Aaron saying, I'm curious if you worked another career for years or always done Ren Fair stuff as your job. I just can't picture you at a desk selling insurance or something, but I can see you being in construction. She says, don't take that as a bad thing. I'm in landscape construction. I'm terrible at construction, but thanks for that. I do look more like a construction worker than an insurance salesman, I think. I used to be a mortgage banker years ago when I was in my early 20s, but basically I have always been a stand-up comic, actor, producer, writer, whatever the gig is. I did have a day job for a little bit where I managed. This was before I started performing at Ren Fairs and after I had decided to stop touring as a stand-up comic. I took a job for a few years where I was managing fundraising. I was a manager at a fundraising operation. I was basically training people how to speak naturally on the phone to do fundraising for different charitable organizations. But that was just kind of a gig in between. Once I realized I didn't want to tour as a stand-up comedian, like tour comedy clubs anymore, and then a few years later finding Renaissance festivals and creating a show for those, that's what I did in between that, while I was still auditioning and such like that here in Los Angeles. But yeah, basically I've done entertainment type stuff. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to look for Byron's question or comment if he had one. Oh, there we go. My ball python keeps rejecting his food on the first try. We always have to offer twice. He is young, so we'd like to get him to take it on the first time. Usually we just immediately reheat and show it again. Yeah, that's all you have to do. That's very common. It's not, it's just how food motivated they are. And if your snake is taking it eventually, you're doing great. Sometimes snakes get so excited about food that they'll take it immediately when you open their cage. But sometimes they got to think about it. So you show it to them, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not sure about this," and then you show it to them a little bit more, and they eventually take it. That's pretty common. Amy Bentley, I see you raising your hand there. Hang on. Hi, did you raise your hand because of this? Because of Byron's
No.
question? Oh.
I've been trying to flag you down since before Byron even posted.
Gotcha. Okay, what's up? Hi.
Hey, your mom is texting me.
Oh.
She is watching on her Kindle, so she can't comment, but she wanted me to tell everybody hi. She also wanted me to tell you that she's busy doing all of the cooking, the Christmas baking at Shan's, and your bedroom is ready for you.
Oh, that's so nice. Mom, I figured that you would be doing a bunch of cooking and baking, which is why I didn't even remind you that the live stream was happening. But clearly you knew already. And it's nice that you're on and watching. So you guys, my mom is in the house, but she will not be in the chat, unfortunately, to chat with everyone. Thanks for that, Amy.
You're welcome. Hi,
All right.
Shannon, Mama Bledsoe, and all the rest of the Bledsoes. Love you. Merry Christmas.
Okay, bye. All right. Let's see. Hang on. I'm down. Okay, here we go. Zigma, thanks for the super chat. I'm new to snake keeping, and your channel was a big influence into getting into this hobby. Oh, that's nice. I now have a ball python, rainbow boa, hognose, Cali king snake, rosy boa, and a red house snake. That's awesome. What a great group of animals to have. That's fantastic. The red, is that the KZN red? I assume that's what you're talking about, or maybe it's a different locality. That's a nice mix of, you didn't like just keep going with the same species. You went, I'm going to get a whole bunch. That's cool. Well done. Dark Scale Creatures says Bob would definitely be excellent at voice acting. You know, I'm okay at voice acting. I've done a number of cartoons. I have not done a voice gig in a while, but I have done them in the past. And I wouldn't say I'm excellent at it, because I'd probably work more if I was excellent at it. But I do enjoy voicing cartoons when the gigs come up. DJ D, man, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Bob, love your vids. What size cages do you have? Can you explain where you place your radiant heat panels? How do you hook up multiple radiant heat panels to thermostats? So your thermostat just has to have multiple channels, you know. So I have a bunch of thermostats, but the ones that handle these are 4-channel thermostats. So I can plug in 4 at one time, but it's basically 4 separate thermostats in one box. The radiant heat panels are just set off to the end of these cages. I have these ones here are 3-foot cages. Those are 5 by 2 by 18 high. These over here, 5 feet long cages. And so the radiant heat panel is just off to one side to create the warm end. And I have several thermostat boxes that are handling each one. They're boxes of 4 that handle each one. Thanks for that super chat. Zetmaster super chatted, Merry Christmas, Mama Bledsoe. And Mom, just so you know, that's a $5 super chat. And I think that $5 goes to me for shouting out the Merry Christmas, Mama Bledsoe. I don't think that's $5 for you, Mom. So let's not have this argument of that I owe you $5. But we'll talk about it later. We'll negotiate later. Maybe I can negotiate down to $2.50. We split it. Maybe that's how it should go. Okay. Tanya says, could you show number 4, please? Her name is going to be Charlotte DeBerry. I have a pirate theme going. I love it. Our pirate theme going. I love that. Yeah, I can show you number 4. Hang on. Thanks for that super chat. So Tanya is getting number 4. This is a real pretty snake. Oh, she's in shed. This young lady is in shed. You guys imagine this snake, but way more yellow than this. This is a snake that's in shed. Look at all that flaming and the pastel that's erased where the brown is. So cool. Hey, little one, you getting ready to shed? You probably don't want me handling you. Anyway, super pretty snake with a real cool pattern. I'm not going to unfurl her because she's not trying to be messed with. I'm going to put her right back. Tanya, I'm sorry that she's in shed at the one time that I can show her on camera. But that just means that she's been eating well. Okay. I love the name. Corvus, what's the most ridiculous feeding strike you've ever witnessed? Oh, that's super easy. And I did a short after it happened showing Echo, who launched out of her cage, launched her entire body out of her cage and bit the floor. So I don't think I've ever witnessed a more ridiculous thing than this. And it was my snake. I've seen a lot of other people feeding and ridiculous stuff, but she bit the carpeting. Amy, I see your hand. She bit the carpeting and wouldn't let go. I just had to wait, probably 5 minutes, between 5 and 10 minutes. She sat there with the floor in her mouth. There was a lot of carpet python jokes, stuff like that, but she bit the carpet, and that was very silly. Thanks for that super chat, Corvus. All right, let's see. I'm going to bring Amy on, and then Amy's sister Katie has a super chat. Hi, Amy.
Hi. Hey, so you also have a video of Bagheera. When Bagheera strikes, she went like flip, 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 flip.
Oh, that was crazy.
Remember? You have a video in one of your feeding videos. You were like, look at this crazy one. She does that every single time.
Really?
She flips at least 3 to 8 times every single time she strikes still.
Bagheera is a crazy snake. We got to talk about that snake. Amy, you should get one of your snakes. You should have a snake with you.
I should. I fed them all.
Oh, really?
Like,
they're all
I probably could go get one, but I
That's
just fed them all.
Let your snakes digest.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Bagheera is a crazy eater. All right. Your sister
Also,
sent a super chat. That
your mom says, yay.
Oh, mom says yay.
I think because you agreed to give her half.
$250. Okay, great.
Super chat somebody sent to her.
Good. All right. Your sister says, give me Mama Bledsoe's Venmo so I can send her $5. Katie, so Katie super chatted $5 to me to request Mama Bledsoe's Venmo so she could send her $5. Katie, I'll send that to you privately.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. We got more super chats here. You guys are keeping me from reading the Patreon questions. If this live stream goes till midnight, you guys all have to stay with me until this live stream is done. So that's the rules. Back to Chang. Thanks for the super chat. My 5-year-old daughter Olive would like to know your favorite type of snake. We have a ball python. Oh, fantastic. Olive, that's a great question. I have so many favorite snakes, but I tell you what, the one you have, a ball python, is definitely one of my favorites. I love a ball python because they're just such nice pets, right? But there are other snakes that are very interesting that I like a lot. And I like rattlesnakes. They're very dangerous. And I wouldn't handle them in my hands, but I like them a lot. And I like reticulated pythons. Super smart. I love a king cobra. Super smart. I love a Boland's python. These are all snakes that you should look up. Unless maybe you already know everything about them. I don't know. That's a great question, though. Okay. Mara Muse, thanks for the super chat. Can a radiant heat panel be put on the side of a cage? Yeah, it could. I don't know. I mean, I haven't thought about this. So I don't know that I have a great answer for this, but I feel like, yeah, it probably could. You guys put in the chat if you have done this before or heard about that being done. Now I want to ask Clint at Black Box Cages. Is Clint in, by the way? He usually is. Have you guys seen Clint? I want to ask him if he's done that before or had people ask about that. Something I haven't thought about. I'm going to say yes, it probably can. There might be a reason that nobody is doing it, though. unless maybe they are and I just don't know about it. Oh my gosh, that Redbreast, man. This, for those of you who drink Irish whiskey, look, Redbreast is in my top two. It's between Redbreast and Green Spot. This is as far as obtainable whiskeys. There are others that are super expensive that, you know, would be better probably, but Redbreast and Green Spot are my favorites, where I'm not spending, you know, $100 on a whiskey. And this Listowel version, Listowel edition, I've never had before, but I love it. And that has become my favorite. Redbreast Listowel has squeaked past. I've always said that I can't decide which one I like better between Redbreast and Green Spot. That has squeaked past, and that is now my favorite Irish whiskey. But I'm going to stop drinking it. We're going to move on to Scotch next. I'm putting that in the back so I don't reach for it again, because I'm not trying to drink a lot of that. That's one that you save. Okay. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, let's get back to Patreon. Okay, Mysteria says, how well do you think snakes can recognize faces or the shape of their owners? Every time we have company over, they walk up to his cage. Our corn snake gets an inch out of his hide and freezes when he sees it's not us. Then he tucks back into hiding. Since the doors are closed, I figured maybe smell is less of a factor and it's more visual. Would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, that's interesting. So I cut this one down, and basically Mysteria was saying that their snake is all about interacting with them, but basically won't come out of the hide when it's somebody else that's not them. And corn snakes can see relatively well. My guess is that corn snakes see better than pythons generally. And so, yeah, I think they can probably visually recognize their keeper. That's a really interesting anecdotal report, though, that you see that behavior from your snake, because you know, when I think of snakes recognizing us, I think of it being mainly from their tongue flicking, and but they can also, you know, especially up close, they can see fairly well, and yeah, you know, they're also very smart. They're very intelligent. They definitely can recognize their keeper. So, yeah, I'd say that they can probably visually they could probably do that just off the visuals, you know. That's really interesting. Okay. Carly says, when you talk about using water to soak substrate rather than misting, do you do the entire enclosure, including underneath the hides? Or do you just focus on the places where the snake won't be resting? You know, I don't do the entire enclosure because that's usually too much moisture in general. And I don't do under the hides, not because the snake will be sitting there, but just because it's easier to get to other places. So usually what I'm doing is I'm spraying certain areas if I'm using a sprayer. I have a hose now. I hooked up a hose to my shower, and it's completely changed my life. I've talked about this before, but basically I can turn a little knob to go from the shower head or the hose. And so I turn it to the hose, and I bring the hose out, and that's where I fill up water dishes and everything, and also water all these plants, and am giving extra humidity. So I just squirt a little bit of hose somewhere in the cage, you know. But it doesn't have to be all over, just somewhere where it'll add some humidity, you know. And I don't, you know, I've never, knock on wood, I never deal with scale rot because I'm not making it like swampy and damp there. It's just a little, you know, they can sit on slightly moist substrate, but if they're sitting in swampy, damp substrate, that's what's going to give them scale rot. So you just do a little bit somewhere so that it will slowly evaporate and provide some humidity. Okay, next question from Carly is, you've mentioned that you start baby ball pythons on rat pups. It looks like Lane Labs has rat pups weighing 20 to 29 grams. And for a ball python weighing 130 grams or less than 130 grams, that is too big according to the 10 to 15% rule. Is that still okay to feed them anyway? I'm getting in juvenile and wonder if I should buy rat pups or not. Okay, so there's a number. I have a number of answers for this. There's a lot of different things to cover. First of all, I don't start all my ball pythons on rat pups. If I have a clutch that is big and I have rat pups that are small, I'll start them on rat pups. I think in my first videos, my first couple clutches, I was starting my ball pythons on rat pups because they were big. They were Freya's babies and those were big. I usually start on mice now because I find that it's easy to transition them to rat pups. And, but yeah, so to answer your question, a big ball python hatches out at 80 grams. They're usually smaller than that, but you figure if you have a big clutch, a clutch of big babies, they're maybe closer to 80 grams. You got some small rat pups in the bag. You can start them off on that. And yes, that's definitely bigger than 10 to 15% of their body weight. Now, if you have a 130 gram ball python, if you have a 100 gram ball python, yes, give them a rat pup. That's no problem at all. Remember that the 10 to 15% rule is generally what we say for how to size a prey item. But in the wild, ball pythons aren't weighing themselves or the prey that they catch. They're sometimes catching giant prey that's really taxing for them to swallow. That's way more than 15%. And sometimes they're catching small stuff. So the 10 to 15% rule is giving them enough food so that they'll grow, but not tax their bodies too much. You definitely can feed 20%. I'm feeding little Squeak, my pygmy python. He's getting a meal that's 20% of his body weight tonight, and that's no problem. So there's that, and then so yeah, when you get that snake, that's going to be a well-started snake. And this is the other thing you're asking, if you should buy rat pups or not. What you should buy is whatever the breeder is currently feeding that snake. That's at least for the first couple meals. If the breeder says that they're feeding them, small rats or hoppers, small mice or hopper mice, get mice to feed for the first couple. If the breeder's currently feeding rat pups, then yes, you should get rat pups. But sometimes, like a lot of times people will get a snake that they know is on mice. So they get a couple mice for the first couple meals, but they intend to transition to rats. So they get a couple rats also, and see if they can get them on rat pups. I've got a video coming out in a couple weeks on how to do that, how to make that transition. We already talked about that. Okay. I should have a snake. Who should I get, you guys? Who do you want to see? Who were you requesting last time? Handsome Dan was requested. Let me see if he's even. Hang on. I can't see from that camera if he's even. Yeah, I think he's in shed. I haven't seen him. He's in his sky hide. I know that. And he's not even poking his head out of his sky hide. Who we were saying is Bella, my coastal carpet python. Let's see if we can get Bella or this is just going to depend on where she is right now. Oh, yeah. She is going to outgrow her sky hide very soon. Hi there, young lady. We just dump her out. Okay, we'll hang out with Bella for a little bit. Okay. She is a real pretty lady. Let me just catch up, make sure that I'm all right. Okay, H&K Creations has a few questions. Recently, we've noticed our ball python peeking her head out when I'm cooking or cleaning, or or if I light a new candle in the house. She just started doing this in the last few weeks. I thought it was just a coincidence, but it's become a pattern. What are your thoughts on this behavior? I think a lot of people say that they cook and their snake comes out, so they think that it's coming out looking for food because they're cooking food. But I always remind people that people food is not snake food. So they're not smelling that and going, "Oh, yum, I'd like some of that macaroni," or whatever you're making, but it might just be that the smell changed. I don't light candles in here. I don't do incense or candles or anything like that, just because it's not great for a snake's lung. These snakes have a simple respiratory system, and breathing any kind of smoke is not great for them. So I stay away from that. But I think that if they were to smell candle or whatever, they might just wonder what's going on, and poke their head out because of that. But I don't think that they're doing it because they think it's food necessarily, and then question number 2, do you think snakes are far more intelligent than we give credit for, or is it mostly anthropomorphism making it appear that they have deeper intelligence? No, they definitely are more intelligent than we give them credit for sure. I have a number of videos that demonstrate that talk about things that my snakes do, their memory of figuring out what their favorite spot in the room is, and whoops, hang on, and I gotta fix something. They figure out where their favorite spot in the room is, and then they remember that forever. I target train my snakes. I train them to not go certain places that I don't want them to go. And oh, hang on, I screwed up this camera. Let's see. There we go. And they are way smarter than we usually give them credit for, because people think that snakes are, they talk about this, the reptile brain, the lizard brain, that basically just means that they're running on instinct and nothing else. And snakes are highly intelligent problem solvers with strong memories, good memory. So yes to that. Hang on, I just saw a super chat. Let me scroll back down to it. Yoda the Jedi, thanks for the super chat. Hey Bob, I'm getting Bredli the end of January, and I'm so keen. Why do you say Brettles and not Bredli? Just wondering, as here in Australia, 99% of us say Bredli. Bredli is the actual name, Morelia Bredli, but colloquially they're known as a Brettles python. So I say both. Morelia Bredli or Brettles python. It's like what's another example of that? There's examples of, if I can think of one, I'll say it, but there are examples of names that are the actual Latin name, and then the common name is very close to the Latin name. And that's just one of them, that the common name is a Brettles python and the Latin name is Morelia Bredli. So I kind of say them both interchangeably, just whatever happens to come out of my mouth. Congrats on the new snake, though. Okay. So H&K Creations, last question is, when is the paranormal podcast happening, and where do I go to find your alter ego? So that is what she's talking about, is a podcast that I'm starting that's not all paranormal, but we are going to talk about some paranormal stuff in it. It's called Aliens Are Behind Everything and Other Probably True Nonsense. and it's about aliens and cryptids like Bigfoot, stuff like that, and paranormal and government cover-ups and fun, mysterious stories that may or may not be true. I'm working on that, working very hard on it. I've recorded a couple full episodes. I spent the entire weekend writing and recording a theme song and then putting that together on banjo and mandolin and putting a little intro video together because the podcast will be on YouTube also. So it'll be audio on all the podcast places and then the video version on YouTube. Oh, she's going up the sleeve. Okay. We'll see what happens there. I haven't created the podcast yet on the podcast places, but it's Aliens Are Behind Everything. It's youtube.com/aliens are behind everything is where you would find it if you want the video version of it. The video version and the audio version are going to be exactly the same, except, oh my gosh, I couldn't tell, but she was all the way around behind my back. Anyway, it's the same stuff. It's just that you're going to see my giant beard flapping in the video version. And I might have a little bit of B-roll with it too. And we'll see how I'm sure it'll morph and change as I put more episodes up. So we'll see what happens with it. Fizzy says she's already subscribed to the YouTube podcast channel. That's really nice. There is nothing on the YouTube podcast channel yet. I will be, once it launches, I'll put up 3 episodes all at once. So you can go through 3 of them. Okay. So Xena says, will you ever be able to ship to Europe? Oh, this is the one that we were talking about. Or is it totally off the table? I mean, it's for the most part off the table. I would have to, if I was shipping something to Europe, I would have to get the snake in with a crate that somebody else was shipping. And it would be costly and the snake would be in shipping for a long time. And it's a whole process. So it's basically off the table at this point. Unfortunately, I get that question a lot. Andy says, I love that you're doing a Christmas themed live stream on my birthday. Andy, happy birthday. My question is, do you or have you ran a humidifier system in just your snake room? Yeah, I have before. And I have a humidifier just in case I need that, but that's a great way to bump the humidity. A lot of times your cage is having humidity problems, and it's because the room that the cage is in is sitting at 20% humidity, so just humidifying the room is a big help. Okay, back to Cheng. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, my 4-year-old daughter Josephine would like to know if it's okay to take our juvenile ball python outside in our hands with no other animals around. Josephine, that's such a great question. Yes, your ball python, I think, would love to go outside and get some fresh air and breathe the sun. And as long as you or your dad or whoever, whatever adult you're with is making sure that snake is okay, that's a great thing to do. I like to bring my snakes outside. I brought Bella outside the other day. She likes to have sun and fresh air. That's a really good question. Let's see. Desiree Hart, thanks for the super chat. Merry Christmas from me and Houdini. How is your jumping spider doing? I fell into inverts after getting reptiles. I now have arachnids and mantids. Oh my gosh, I love mantids. Those are really cool. Carol is doing great. She is, I think she's getting ready to molt again. Yeah, hang on a second. I just want to give you an accurate answer. Oh, there she is. Okay. she was sitting with her butt to me, and when I got up and looked in her cage, she could see with the eyes that are in the back of her head, she saw the movement, and she whipped around really quick to look at me with her good eyes that are at the front. I mean, they're all good eyes, but the eyes in the front of her face are the ones that can focus on things, and the eyes in the back of the head detect movement. So pretty much from 360 anywhere around her, she can detect that there might be a problem, and she can whip her body around really fast to see what's going on. Yeah, she's doing good. I should do another little short video with Carol. She's a cool little spider. I will say though that I don't see myself getting into inverts. Really, I don't have a big interest, even though I think they're cool. Like, I think mantids are really cool. I don't think I'll ever have one. I don't think I'll get more jumping spiders, or other types of spiders. I think Carol's really cool and I like having her, but I'm not trying to have a ton of spiders. I've got a lot of snakes. So that's kind of the main thing. Let's put you right here, Miss Bella, for now, since you're trying to travel. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, Ezra says, which of your snakes is most like the Grinch in personality? That's a great question. I have two that, normally I would say the inspector, and not always with him, but he is cranky enough that he would be the one that I think of, but also Han, because we don't see Han very often. Maybe I'll bring Han out later. Han is really cool, but man, he is loud. When I pick him up, he's never struck at me. He's never acted defensive at all, but he is very vocal. If I go to get him out from under his hide, he'll give me the loudest, longest hiss you've ever heard. So he's a cranky pants, but he's a cool snake. Okay. Hold on. Make sure I didn't miss something here. Okay. Let's see. Tanya says, hi, Bob. I'm installing UVB shade dweller lighting in my new PVC enclosures. Do you think the bulbs will require protective cages around them? Obviously, the bulbs won't produce heat, but I'm concerned about a possible sunburn effect if the snake gets too close. Tanya, the answer is yes. Definitely put cage. The snake could, even if it's a bulb that doesn't provide heat or produce heat, which a lot of those UVBs actually do, but the snake could wrap around it and break the bulb. So they could just mess with it and cause all kinds of dangerous stuff. So yeah, definitely put a cage on that bulb. Allison says, I know you play guitar and maybe ukulele, so I'm wondering if you would be willing to perform a holiday song for us. It would be festive. Yeah, I'll play something. Allison, I do play ukulele. I'm decent at ukulele. I play guitar, but really, like, that's my least. I play banjo, mandolin, ukulele, and guitar. And guitar is my least. My least skilled instrument is guitar, mainly because I never practice it, because I kind of like playing the others better. They're more interesting to me. And I'm putting Bella back. She was starting to get squirrely. Hang on, almost there. Almost there. Okay. I bet I could play a Christmas song on the mandolin. Hang on. I mean, not mandolin, ukulele. Let's see. I don't sing, you guys. I'm gonna play a very short. This is gonna be short, and we'll see if I can get through it because I could also screw it all up. Let's see. There you go. Didn't even screw it up. Didn't even screw it up. That was surprising to me, actually. Okay, there's your ukulele Christmas song of the day. All right, where are we at? Okay, Christy, I paraphrased this to save some time because we went back and forth on this one. Christy was having humidity issues in a well set up EcoFlex cage. So she described the cage. She was saying that she couldn't get the humidity up. And so I asked for a photo of the cage because I couldn't figure it out based on her description. It seemed like it was everything was set up properly. The first thing I asked is where's your humidifier or your hygrometer? Because a lot of people put their hygrometer high up on their cage, like on the cage walls, and that's not a good spot to read the humidity. So it's on the ground. I saw the picture. The cage looked great. The problem that she was having is that it drops down to the 50s. That's not really a problem. There are some ball pythons that will have rough sheds if their humidity is 50%, but a lot of them won't. So this is a new snake, and I asked her if the snake had shed yet, and it hasn't. So my recommendation is to wait till the snake sheds and see if it's a problem. It's probably not going to be a problem, but if it is, then next time the snake goes into shed, you can put a humid hide in there. You know, you could have a cage at 50% humidity if that's like the most you can get it to. You know, you just give them a humid hide when they're in shed. They don't have to have it all the time. It could just be when they're in shed. But my thought was it's a screen top. It's like a PVC cage or EcoFlex. I think that's plastic, but whatever. Had a screen top. The screen top was covered, but it had a dome light. And I think the humidity is escaping. It's drying. The dome light is drying it out, basically, I think. But it looked like a cage that shouldn't be, you know, that it should be able to hold humidity, but it just wasn't. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think 50% is just fine in the 50s. And if you need a humid hide, you can do that, you know. Katie, thanks for the super chat. My hubby just handed me a bottle of chocolate hazelnut liqueur he's been saving for my Christmas Day birthday. Oh, your birthday's on Christmas. Happy birthday. So I could have a toast with you. Cheers. Oh, Katie, that's awesome. Slancha. I bet that's delicious. I say slancha, which is Irish, and it means to your health. And I'm drinking Irish whiskey. I mean, I say it anyway, regardless of what I'm drinking, but it's especially appropriate when you're drinking Irish whiskey. Okay, let's see. Where are we at here? I'm still reading off my clipboard from the questions that Patreon has sent me. For those who don't know, if you're on the Green Room Pythons Patreon, a few days before a live stream, I announce that a live stream is happening, and I have them submit their questions, and then I print them all off on a clipboard. So that's what I'm reading these questions from, is Patreon, who has pre-submitted Q&A questions. Okay. On to Phil's question. Phil says, I'm getting ready to get a spotted python. Great choice. That's Antaresia. That's in the same family as the pygmy python, Childress python, stuff like that. Question is, can I go by the same type feeding schedule as I did with Maxine, my ball python, and temp and humidity too? Yeah, generally, Phil, temp and humidity is about the same as ball pythons. Feeding schedule, yes, as far as when you feed that snake. weekly when they're young, and maybe every 10 to 14 days when they're older, but you're going to feed smaller prey items, generally not smaller with regard to their body size. You still want to feed them something that's about as thick as the thickest part of their body. But a ball python is a bigger snake, so you'll end up feeding ball pythons more. I've never had a spotted python. I don't know what somebody that has an adult spotted python. Tell me what you're feeding them. My guess is that an adult spotted python is probably getting like a weaned rat. Maybe they get up to smalls. I bet they get up to smalls. Somebody put in the chat. I'm curious about this. If you're getting them up to small rats. Old Scratch is asking if there's still a free Patreon level. Yes, there is. Yeah, you can join the Green Room Pythons Patreon for free. You're not technically in the Horde of Keepers. So, but the one thing that you get on the free level is I do a weekly Green Room update that some people really like. I'm sure other people just ignore it. But every Wednesday, I make a video just for Patreon, and I put it up for everyone on the free and the paid tiers. And it's called a 1-minute update, but I usually go a few minutes and talk about what's happening in the Green Room. It's just sort of a behind the scenes little thing. All right. So on to Christy's question. I frequently read posts regarding mites and substrate. Can snakes get mites or develop any issues from substrate? Thank you for all the valuable information, and happy holidays. Happy holidays, Christy. So here's the thing with mite. I think this comes from people not understanding what mites are and how snakes get them and what they are, where they come from. So snake mites, first of all, are specific to snakes. There are all kinds of different types of mites in the world, and substrate can often have wood mites in them. Wood mites are totally harmless, and they're not. It's not like you're going to have an infestation of wood mites if you have it in your substrate. You'll just see these little tiny bugs occasionally crawling on substrate. I almost have never seen it in substrate that I've gotten, so it's not super common, but it does happen. I see it posted online because people think they're snake mites. So the thing to know about snake mites is that they are specific to snakes. Snake mites live on the blood of snakes. And so when if I order substrate from Amazon and it shows up, that's not coming from a place that also has snakes. It's coming from a warehouse where they made this substrate. Now, if I order from someone who's a snake breeder and also does substrate in the same room, there could be snake mites in that substrate if their snakes have mites, I think what usually happens, though, is somebody goes to the pet store. They go to a reptile-specific pet store to pick up substrate, and they see some snakes, and they go, oh, let me handle this one, whatever. They pick up some mites on their body. They bring the substrate home. All of a sudden, the next week, their snake has mites, and they go, there was mites in the substrate. But there wasn't. It was that they brought it home because they were handling snakes. This also happens at reptile shows. You can often buy substrate at reptile shows, and people bring that home and blame the substrate for having mites when it was just that they were in a place that had snakes and they picked up mites. And mites are really good at snake mites are really good at finding snakes. So if you bring home eggs on your body or end up with mites somehow, they're going to find your snakes. So did that answer the question? So my answer is that generally no, your substrate is not going to just have snake mites in it, but it could if you buy your substrate, especially if it's like loose substrate that you buy at a pet store. I don't know what pet stores have loose substrate lying around, but let's say you're scooping substrate, and there are snake cages right next to it. That could easily have mites in it, but that's not usually the case. Usually it's packaged, it's pre-packaged substrate from a facility that doesn't also have snakes, so. Speaking of snakes, I should, oh no, What am I doing here? Sorry, guys. Hang on. How am I? You guys. Crisis Corpse, I think I accidentally deleted 2 of your messages, and I didn't mean to. I'm just clicking on stuff, and it just said, this is just telling me that there's 2 things that Green Room Python deleted. You're just saying Happy Christmas to, to people. I'm not trying to delete that. I think I brought it back, but I'm not sure if I did or not. I'm not trying to moderate the chat right now. I have other moderators that do that. Okay. And Crisis Corp saying happy birthday to people is not a comment that I would want moderated. Just to be clear. That's not, she didn't break any rules by saying happy Christmas. All right. What snake should I have? Did I threaten to bring out another snake? Somebody put in the chat. Who do you want to see? Oh, let me. You know what? I got it. Don't even worry about it. I got it. I'm going to show you guys Ozzy. You want to see my You want to see my rough scale python? Yeah, actually. Hey, Amy. Oh, Amy's flagging me down anyway. I was going to pull you up. Hi. Have you been flagging me down for a while? Wait. Let me.
Yeah, my dog would like to say hello to you.
Oh my gosh,
He's
Indy
climbed into my lap and keeps trying to paw the computer to get to you.
That's
hi.
Indy is one of my favorite dogs. I have a few favorite dogs in the world, and Indy is really at the top of the list. He's the sweetest dog, and he's so comfortable. Like, I'm so jealous right now that you get to lay there with Indy, because that is the most comfortable dog to lay there with.
Until he falls asleep and starts twitching.
Oh, well.
Oh,
he's just so fluffy, and I love him so much. Amy, talk about Indy or whatever you want to talk about while I grab Ozzy.
Okay. Oh,
there you go.
Hi, baby. This is Indy. You want to know what I want to talk about? This new setup. So we use Riverside to do the live streams now. We used to use StreamYard, something like that. And when StreamYard is what we used, I used to be able to see what you guys see. When he puts me as the only person on the screen, all I see is his setup. I can't see me at all. So if I'm making a dumb face right now, I need somebody to be like, Amy, fix your face. You're on live internet right now. Because I don't know what I look like. I have no idea what I look like right now. Hey, you're back.
I am back. Hang on. There we go. I couldn't hear what you were talking about. Did you get to say your thing?
I said a lot of things.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hear it tomorrow. So if you were talking about me, I'm going to know.
They're all secret.
Okay. Bye, Amy.
It's all
bye,
secrets
Andy.
that you'll never find out about. Say bye-bye.
Okay. So here's Ozzy. Again, I don't have autofocus right now, but Ozzy is my rough scale python, and he is in shed. I didn't realize that. I'm sure some of you have had this experience before, where you open your snake's cage or lift up a hide and your snake is sitting in the craziest position and you think there's a big problem. He was sitting with his head on the floor, like the side of his head on the floor. It always freaks me out when a snake is doing that. But anyway, he's in shed. I'm not going to stick around with him for much longer, but Indy's doing so well. I mean, Indy is doing well, Amy's dog, but Ozzy is doing so well. And he's a real cool snake. We're going to talk more about rough scale pythons in upcoming videos. Black Box is putting a cage together for him right now, and I'm excited to get him out of a tub and into a cage. I've got a few snakes that are still that are out of quarantine, but they're kind of just living in the quarantine room until I get my cages. And Black Box is handling that. I'm very excited for that to happen. So anyway, let's you flip this page and answer another question. So yeah, Ozzy's real cool. He's got gray almost into blue eyes. That's what I really love about, I mean, there's a lot of things I love about rough scale pythons, but I can't, I'm in a weird position here. But one of the things I love is their big, giant blue eyes. Is really cool for, you know, for a snake that's otherwise just a brown snake. When you just look at it and don't know anything about it, and you go, oh, it's a brown snake. Well, this is a brown snake with massive eyes and the probably the biggest tooth to head ratio of any python species, and keeled scales. No other python has keeled scales. I can't think of another python that does anyway. And he's got a real wrinkly neck right now because he's in shed. Okay. Oh, Crisis, thanks for the super chat. Eclipse the Boa says, happy holidays and to stay safe with the wild weather. You won't delete this message. That's right. I won't delete it, Crisis. Thanks. Happy holidays to you as well. Okay. I'm going to answer one more question before I put Ozzy back. I thought I was going to hang on to him for a while, but I didn't realize he was in shed. I'm also thawing out food for him tonight, but I have a feeling he's going to have no problem taking. He's a good eater. He'll be happy to eat while in shed, I think. Let's see. Tyler says, are you planning on doing another reviewing your snake enclosures video anytime soon? The last one you did was super entertaining, and I'd love to participate in the next one if you do another. Yeah, Tyler, I think I will do another. I've had a couple people ask about that who would like to see another reviewing your snake enclosure. That was fun to do. And when I do those, I just ask for Patreon to send me, I go on Patreon and say, hey, send me your pictures of your enclosures if you want me to review them. And let me know in the chat if you guys like that idea, if we should do another installment of that. Put that in the chat while I put Ozzy back, and then we'll figure out who else I'm going to get. I'm sure there's a snake that I can get for a longer period of time. Okay. Hi, I'm back. Do you have a snake request? If you do, I'll look on here and see it, and maybe I'll get the snake out that you want to see. In the meantime, let's answer another question. Aurora says, happy holidays, Bob. Are you planning to add any new snakes to the family in the new year? Any new breeding projects? Also, do you think you'll do a meet in Minnesota again? Okay, so this is several questions. I definitely don't want to miss your next horde herping day here. Cheers. Okay, so we'll answer them backwards. Minnesota, I'm probably not going to do anytime soon because we try and do a different one each year, like in a different spot each year. We did Minnesota last year. It was amazing. And I do want to go back, but we're going to do Arizona this year. This next one's going to be Arizona. And then new breeding projects. Yeah, I'm going to pair the black-headed pythons this year, I think. And I'm pairing that snake that's going crazy right there, Echo. Let's take a look at what's going on there. So I'm pairing Echo and Dave. You can see Dave right below her. Actually, he's coming out. They have been paired twice, and they have completely ignored each other both times. And whoops. And that just means that Dave is cycling. I mean, no, it doesn't. That's not true. It means that Echo is not cycling. And so they really could care less. They just sort of hide from one another. Yeah. So anytime I've put Dave in with Echo, he has just hid on the other side of the cage from her. And that's, oh, there we go. Oh, I thought we were going to get a good view, but not at all. Okay. Anyway. Nope. There we go. So anyway, that's a breeding project that I think will happen eventually, but Echo has to be cycling. Okay. So that's that. Red Sonia is asking about tongue flicks, which is what we see our snakes doing all the time. Tongue flicks are just how the snake figures out what's going on in their world. They've got a hole in the top of their mouth that goes directly to the Jacobson's organ, and they pick up these scent particles on their little forked tongues, and then they stick their tongue back in their mouth, put it into the hole in the roof of their mouth, hit the Jacobson's organ with it, and they can figure out what's going on in the world directionally. They can figure that out. One fork picks up scent particles here, the other fork picks it up here. They put it in the Jacobson's organ, and they can figure out which side had which scent particles, and that's helpful if they're sitting on a game trail or whatever, or let's call it a rodent trail, and a rodent is somewhere in the area that they can smell. They can figure out if they smell it this way or that way, which is pretty cool. I will say though that I've heard other people in videos say that snakes can tongue flick and immediately figure out what's going on all over in the room. And I have not found that to be the case with my snakes at all. And I don't think that's the case. I think that they still have to really do a lot of figuring. My black-headed pythons, I watch them hunt for rodents and birds and stuff all the time because I put a frozen thawed meal in their cage. In fact, we're going to do that tonight. I think I'm going to feed them tonight. We'll see them do it. They hunt around and they have to tongue flick on the rat to realize that the rat is right there. The rat could be right next to their body, right near them, and they're tongue flicking everywhere, all over the place, somewhere else. So all that to say that I don't think snakes can figure everything out with their tongue right away in the room, but it lets them. They use their tongues way more than their eyes, way more than visual input to figure out what's happening. I'll say that. Okay. So Lindsay says, I got a 6-month-old ball python at the St. Louis NARBC. Congratulations. In November, and have yet to get her to take a meal. She was on live, and I'm trying to switch her to frozen thawed. Any suggestions? Yes, Lindsay. Don't try to switch her to. You just have to get her to eat first. So my recommendation always is whenever you get a new snake, you find out what the breeder was feeding, and it sounds like and then feed them exactly that. So the snake needs to be established in their cage with food that they recognize. Right now, your snake isn't recognizing frozen thawed as food. It's not that they're saying, oh, I don't like this food that you're giving me. I'd prefer live. They're literally not recognizing it as food. They don't know what that is. So it's important that you get them eating first. So you need to give them a live meal, maybe 2 live meals, and then switch them over. I have a video coming out in, I think, 2 weeks that shows how to switch from frozen thawed from live to frozen thawed. So that will help. But my biggest recommendation is give that snake a live meal. I know that a lot of us don't like to feed live. I definitely don't like to, but I need to sometimes. And if you need to get a snake going, whether it's a brand new baby snake that just hatched or a snake that's only used to eating live, sometimes you got to do that. Okay. I lost my place. Got it. Okay, here we go. Allison says, I've had my ball python Cavendish for a year now, and he's always been super gentle and never hissed or struck at me. Then a few days ago, he bit me, which was my fault because I overconfidently stuck my hand in when he was in strike position. I fed him the next day. Today, when I walked past his enclosure, he struck at me through the glass. You mentioned in a video the in a recent video, behavioral changes as they age. So I wonder if that's what's happening. I plan to officially start tap training and target training now to lower my risk of getting bitten. Do you have any other recommendations? Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that may not have been a food strike. Tap training and target training are food related trainings, and really for a super food motivated snake, tap training is the way to go to avoid getting bit. I do a lot of target training with my snakes. I don't know that that's ever lessened the chance of me getting bit by a food motivated snake. So tap training is really what helps with that. But this may be defensive behavior that's all of a sudden coming on. So I would say that if that's the case, if it's in fact defensive behavior, you want to make sure that your snake feels comfortable in that cage. So you might just change things up a bit, but give them more clutter than they have when you change things. Just give them more clutter so they can settle into sort of a new situation with more clutter, so they feel like they're hidden all the time. They're not on edge. If this is food response, so you stuck your hand in, they got a heat signature and struck because they thought it was food, and then later you walked by and they struck at movement that they thought was food. That's not super common for ball pythons, but it does happen. Happens a lot for retics. If it's food response stuff, then the tap training will help with that. Yeah, and sometimes they go through a phase and then they stop doing it. So maybe, it could just be a little phase that they'll get through, that they're just kind of on edge a little bit. Okay. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. I think we're good here. All right. Okay, Jenna, who's in the chat right now, I think, says, I'm wondering about free roaming. I've been allowing my 2.5-year-old Brettles and 1.5-year-old Super Dwarf Retic out to explore. They tend to stay up high. Would it be okay to allow the ball pythons to free roam since they tend to stay at ground level? When your carpets get larger, will you allow them to free roam like the retics? And at the same time, mine just ignore one another, but they're juveniles. Yeah. So first of all, yes, you can allow the ball pythons to free roam. I have a rule that I don't generally mix species, and that's just kind of my rule. It's not that I think the species will fight necessarily. I do, like the black-headed pythons, they are snake eaters, so I definitely don't let them free roam with any other snake. But with the non-snake eaters, they're probably fine together. My main rules are that I don't let sexually mature males roam with any other snake. They can't roam with other sexually mature males because they'll combat with one another. And I don't want them roaming with females because I don't want breeding activity happening out in the room. So they have to roam by themselves. My females can roam together. I have a bunch of females out at once. And a lot of times I'll have ball pythons on the ground and a reticulated python up here, or handsome Dan up here, or something like that. And that's okay to do. I just wouldn't have ball pythons of different sexes roaming around on the ground. In fact, I had Captain Farrell out this morning roaming, and I had a couple other snakes that wanted to come out, but they had to wait till he was done with his little free roam session because I didn't want him out with other snakes. Anyway, I'm giving such a long explanation. The other question was your carpet. When the carpets get older, will I allow them to free roam? Yes, absolutely, they'll free roam. But right now, I bring them out together. Koa and Bella know each other very well, but Koa's a boy and Bella's a girl. Once they're sexually mature, I don't want to be breeding them. They could crossbreed. They're different species, but they're close enough that they could make hybrids. And I'm sure they would be lovely, but I don't want them breeding, so I won't roam them together once they're sexually mature. Bella, I'll probably let her roam by herself, although I don't think the retics in her would have any problem. And Koa will roam by himself. Douglas will free roam by himself, you know. So basically any male snake has to roam by themselves when they're sexually mature, because you don't want them meeting other males and you don't want them meeting other females. And then, was there another part to that question? I feel like there was. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, those are my rules. Okay, so Jenna's other question. Mary has 2 adult male ball pythons. One came from Dave Kaufman. I think he's broken. I don't know if Jenna's saying that Dave Kaufman is broken or Dave Kaufman's snake is broken. I would say yes to maybe both. So I'm just kidding. But both males are doing a ton of enclosure pacing since the room cooled a little. Is that typical male behavior? Does it mean that one of the 3 adult females is cycling, or are they reacting to each other as competition? Should I be covering their glass or just see how things go? So they're not reacting to each other. They're probably not reacting to females cycling, although that potentially could happen, but it's not that's not something that we see. Like, I have a lot of female ball pythons in the same room as a lot of males. I don't see my males going crazy in their cage, you know, during different times of the year. Although sometimes they will, you know, roam a little bit more. Once they start breeding, like the inspector here, once he starts breeding, he all of a sudden acts totally different. But if you're not actively breeding those snakes right now, my guess is it's just a coincidence, you know, that they're just doing that. But it's hard to know for sure, you know. But I would say they're not doing it because there's another male in the room, and I doubt that they're doing it because there's another female in the room. You know, it's probably something else. Okay. Azara says, if you were Santa, which snakes would pull your sleigh? It's a great question, Azara. I would say Echo and Stella are the most active. We need 7, right? I would say Echo, Stella. I need the girth of Damara and Kata. I need 3 more. Pip needs to be one of them. Douglas for sure. Douglas might have a red nose, you know, because I feel like he would steer better. And then I need one more. Who's my other one? I would say, you know what? I'm pulling Pip off the line and I'm replacing her with Maya, and then the inspector is my other one. Pip would be cute pulling a sleigh, but she just isn't going to do much work. I think if we had Pip, then everybody else has to work harder, right? So there you go. That's my 7. Oh, you guys were on the last page. And I'm gonna pour my Port Charlotte. This is one of my all-time favorite whiskeys, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so happy when I have it in the green room. Oh my gosh, I almost poured it on a drop of Redbreast. If you like Scotch that tastes like a forest fire, Port Charlotte. Highly recommend. And then let me get another snake. Who should I get? Oh, Douglas. I'm going to get Douglas because he's out right now. He's moving. Let me see if I can get him. He's kind of tangled in his ball right now. Here's what I'll do. I'll open his cage. I'm going to open his cage and then we'll watch him. Can you see him from? You can't see him very well, but he's right here. Hey, bud. So he's I can't just take him out because he's going through one of those. I've got a 3D printed one of those balls with holes. And he's threaded himself through it. Hi, pal. You want to come out on your own? How about that? And then I'll grab you once you're out. That's what we'll do. I will let him do his thing. He's been practice free roaming lately. Meaning I let him crawl all around on the tops of the cages and find his spot and everything, but I watch him the whole time. Because he's still a tiny guy. Okay. Barbara says, when you were growing up, did you have any non-reptile pets? If so, what was your favorite and why? Yeah, I mean, we had dogs. We had a dog named Missy when I was a little kid, and then we had a dog named Bo when I was a teenager. Bo was awesome. But as a child, I had fish. My parents let me have fish when I was very young, and I enjoyed those fish. I don't think I took very good care of those fish. I remember the tank being very dirty a number of times, but that was kind of my first exposure to having an animal that I had to care for myself, you know. And then I had a bunch of reptiles. Okay, Douglas is doing his thing. Let's see if I can get him out of here. He's going in behind the Christmas village. All right. Maybe I was a little early. He's so long, this guy. Like he could be fully on that top of that cage and halfway across it and still have his tail. Like still have the back third of his body in his own cage. He's very long. All right. We'll give him a moment. Oh, well, now I can get him. Hang on. I'm not being very patient, I guess, with this. Okay. Now we got your tail. Okay. We got him. So Douglas always looks for my glasses. The first thing he does when I put him in my hands is he goes right to my eyes. And I usually have reading glasses on. They're either on the top of my head or on my face. And so he goes straight to my eyes because he thinks he's going to get the glasses. And then when he doesn't get to them, he goes right to the top of my head. But I think the hat is way more interesting than glasses for him right now. So there we go. All right. Barbara says, I have a table full of plants that my ball python loves to roam on and to hang out on together. Can I let my Hog Island boa out on the same table? Not at the same time. I'm just wondering, she says not at the same time. I'm just wondering if there's a risk of IBD passing onto the ball pythons. Should I sanitize the table each time the boa has been on it, or just not let snakes roam on the same surfaces at all? So Barbara, I would say if you suspect that your snake has IBD, you shouldn't even have that snake in the same room. Boas should always be tested for IBD before, that should be part of the quarantine process. Boas should have a long quarantine before they're introduced to pythons. My guess is you're just talking generally, but I would have your snake tested for IBD. Probably doesn't have it, but IBD, I'm just saying this for everybody else. IBD is a disease that boas can carry for a long time without any, without symptoms. But if they pass it on to a python, it'll wipe out any python in your group. So it's very important to get them tested for IBD. So if you haven't had your snake tested and you just don't know if they have it maybe or not, that snake should probably still be in quarantine, and then, once you're confident that the snake doesn't have IBD, and you can also have false negatives with IBD. So I had Handsome Dan tested a couple times when he was in quarantine, and now he can go on the same surfaces. I still don't let them meet. I don't let him roam with the ball pythons, but they can be on the same surface. And it's usually not the same surface with ball pythons for me. It's that he sits up on top of these cages, and when he's not on the top of the cages, the retics usually are. So, but I'm confident that he doesn't have IBD. Like it's been tested, and so that's my thought on that. Douglas is, see, the problem with a super long, skinny snake is you don't expect them to just take off, but they will. And the tail could still be here, but then his head is all the way on the other side of the chair. Anyway, back to Chang. Thanks for the super chat. I personally don't have any interest in breeding ball pythons, but it's a super sweet, easy snake. That's right. Do you think their temperament is carried in breeding like some other pet animals, dogs and cats? Yeah, I mean, it's my theory, but I haven't been able to figure that out yet. It's something that's on my mind whenever I have a clutch. Like this clutch is from Damara, so are these babies going to be sweeter than the other babies? But the father is the inspector, and he's not always the sweetest snake. So it's tough to know. I've had some clutches where most of the clutch is really great, and then there's one super spicy one. This most recent clutch that is going to all the Patreon folks, every snake in the clutch is really docile and pretty much, I mean, they're a little, I've got a couple that are a little flighty, but other than that, they don't need much socialization, but yeah, it definitely, I mean, there are other species. Oh, I've got another super chat from Jenna that I missed. I didn't miss it though, because I just saw it. So we're going to get to it. There are other species that they come out of the egg. That they are going to just, every one of them is going to bite you if you put your hand anywhere near. There's some species that just, that's how they are. And ball pythons generally are not like that. You might have one or two in a clutch, or you may have a clutch where everybody's like that, but it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. Usually they do okay. They're going to be shy, but not defensive necessarily. Oh my gosh, Douglas is just going to destroy my hat. That's okay, I guess. Okay. Jenna says, I'm drinking Redbreast tonight. What was the special blend you had earlier? Jenna, that's awesome that you're drinking Redbreast. The special blend is, I had never seen it before. I don't know if it's new or if I just didn't know about it, but it's Redbreast Listau. It's this orange top. Lustau, Lustau. It is the Oloroso sherry cask. So I think it's regular Redbreast, just aged in Oloroso sherry. And man, it's so good. It's sherried Irish whiskey. I'm a big fan of sherried Scotch. Sherried Scotch is my second favorite. My first favorite is Isla Scotch, the real smoky, peaty stuff. But my second favorite Scotch to drink is non-smoky, non-peaty sherry cask Scotch. Is delicious, and that Redbreast is incredible. It's real good. Okay, let's see where we're at. Guys, how cool is Douglas, right? Can you guys see the yellow on his sides? Oh, I think you probably can. Look near his belly. Look at those yellow stripes. I have a feeling he's going to lose those as he gets older, but I really hope he doesn't. I think he will. I think he's going to be slightly less colorful as he gets older. But his iridescence, he'll still be super iridescent. He'll look like a rainbow when the sun hits him. But the yellows in him, I think, are probably going to fade. But I hope not. All right. Christopher says, do you know how long a ball python remembers something or someone that it recognizes from tongue flicks? My wife and I are getting a ball python for Christmas. So we have both been doing a bunch of research, but that's one thing we were wondering that we couldn't find much on. So I'll say this: ball pythons have really good memories. Once they learn where something is in a room. Now this is different than remembering people, but I'll bring it back to that. This is just a great example. When my ball pythons find something in the room that they like, an area that they like to be, they find it one time, they can go back to their cage for a week, and then the next week when they come out of their cage, they'll go right to that spot. So they have really good memories. As far as people, they definitely learn the person that handles them most, or if it's a couple people, they'll learn who those people are, and they'll definitely be more comfortable with those people than they are with a stranger. I hand my snakes off to strangers enough that I see it almost every time when I have a snake that knows me really well. I hand it to a stranger. They act kind of like a baby would to their mother. They immediately are reaching for me, not because they want to hang out with me. They'd rather be off on their own. But if they were given the choice between a stranger or a strange monkey or the big monkey that they know, they're going to choose the big monkey that they know. So they definitely have a memory. But is it the same as, speaking of monkeys, when somebody raises a monkey and then it goes off into the wild, and then those videos, do you watch those videos where the person who raised that monkey and then set it free goes back into the wild and calls for the monkey, and it comes running up. It's been 10 years, and that monkey comes out of the woods and just attacks the person with love. I love those videos. They're the best. An animal like that is going to remember someone 10 years later. I don't know that a snake would have that kind of memory, but just generally knowing their keeper, the person that they're used to versus a stranger, they definitely have that brain capacity. Elijah, thanks for the super chat. Elijah says, got my first snake 6 months ago. Congratulations. And starting to want another. How long would you suggest waiting until I get a second, and what species would you recommend? Well, I don't know what species you got. I'm guessing you have a ball python. But I don't know, maybe not. Oh, Riley's in, you guys. Riley's Reptiles. Hey, bud. Good to see you. So if you have a ball python, a lot of people like to stick with the same species, but I think it's cool to get to know different species because they're all a little bit different. I think, since Riley just jumped in, I think a carpet python is a great choice for a second snake, especially a Brettles python. If you want a snake that has the temperament of a ball python, but is just a different beast, Brettles python is great. And then there's all kinds of colubrids. If you're into colubrids, you've got a huge menu of colubrids that you could go for. all kinds of awesome rat snakes and all kinds of stuff. But the cool thing about snakes is there are so many different species that act so differently, and their body types are so different that depending on what you're looking for, you gotta decide sort of what you're wanting in a snake, and then you'll find something to meet that goal. For a lot of people, it's color and pattern that's the important thing. For other people, it's personality. For other people, it's a certain size, length. You know, some people like the shorter, fat snakes. Some people like the long, skinny snakes. So, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. If you want a snake with like working legs, I recommend a lizard. So there you go. That's my answer. Okay. We're getting to the bottom of this Patreon Q&A. Okay, so there were 3 that came in last minute, and I was able to see them before we went live, and I hand wrote them. Sunshine says, what plants are doing well in the bioactives? So there's a lot of plants in these bioactives that I don't know because I'm not a plant guy, but I will tell you that pothos does really well and snake plants do really well. And croton does really well. Croton. Those are 3 that you can't go wrong with. Pothos, different types of pothos, snake plant, croton. Allison, thanks for the super chat. Allison says, thanks for answering my questions. I was listening in the car driving 40 miles per hour on I-5 between home and SeaTac. Nice. Yes, I totally get that. 5 to 40 miles per hour. Yeah, because SeaTac is, if you're driving on the 5 from SeaTac, it's stop and go. You were probably going from 0 to 40 miles per hour a whole bunch of times. Was a good distraction from the rush hour traffic. Have a very Merry Christmas. Oh, thanks, Allison. That's really nice. I'm glad that I could distract you from that Seattle traffic, which might be the worst in the country. Seattle traffic is worse than Los Angeles traffic, and Los Angeles traffic is terrible. I avoid it all the time. Seattle's worse. So I'm glad that I could distract, hopefully not a driving distraction, but just a boredom distraction. Okay. Bonnie said, let's see. Bonnie wants to get a carpet python. The morphs she likes all have the jag gene in it. Jag is very beautiful. She's asking, what are my thoughts? Do they all end up with neurological issues? Yes. So my thoughts on the jag is the same as my thoughts on like spider. And it causes the same neurological problem, by the way. Yes, all of them have it to some degree. Some have a wobble, some have corkscrewing. It just depends. But usually they live a nice, long, healthy life and they're just fine, you know, with a little wobble. Not that big of a deal. And great as pets. And they are beautiful, you know. Would I personally breed jag? No. Just like I don't have spider ball pythons in my collection. I would have maybe a jungle jag carpet python if I found one that I really thought was cool and I wanted, but I wouldn't breed that snake just because I don't want to breed. I'm not trying to breed snakes with those issues. But yeah, they're all going to have a neurological issue. Riley, you're in right now, so if you have anything additional to say about that, drop it in the chat. Yeah, he's saying it's not neuro. It's the same. It is exactly the same as the ball python one. The ball python spider gene is not neuro. It's a deformation. It's basically a deformation of think of it as the inner ear, and it causes an equilibrium problem. We call it neuro as just an easy way to say it, but it's not neurological at all. It's that deformation inside their head that causes them to not have the greatest equilibrium. But usually they do just fine. Although you do have some that will be worse than others, you know. Riley says, I have only ever owned a few Jags, but all of them have died from stress. That's interesting. That's not so to me, Jag is the same as spider and ball pythons, and I wouldn't say that spiders are commonly die from stress. But that totally might be a thing with Jags. What else are you saying, Riley? Yeah. Yeah, Riley's saying exasperated by stress and excess heat. The wobble is, and that would be the same with spider. Definitely exasperated with stress and maybe excess heat too. I hadn't really thought about that, but that could be an issue with spider also. You know, you get them too warm and they. I mean, snakes will stress over excess heat, so that would be just a cause of stress. But maybe you keep them a little cooler and you don't see the wobble as much. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So here's the last question from Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. Xena jumped in a few minutes before we went live and said, how do I keep heat and humidity? Or asking me how I keep heat and humidity in the baby tubs. Those baby tubs are in a snake rack, which is equipped with heat tape that goes all through the back of each tub. So it's actually easier. Those tubs are easier to keep heat and humidity than most cages, just because they're small, contained. They all have a heat strip that's all on. I mean, it should be all on the same level of heating once you get it set right. And then the humidity, because it's a small tub, is pretty easy. It's really easy, especially if you're using substrate. For my new babies, I have them on paper towel, and I just have to remember to put a little water on that paper towel occasionally. It doesn't have to be all the time, but just occasionally, and especially if I notice them in shed. There have been times that I don't notice that they're in shed and I haven't put water on their paper towel in a while, and they'll have a bad shed. And that's totally my fault for not paying attention. But usually with those little tubs, humidity, as long as you're on top of it, is easy to keep. And it's especially easy if you have substrate. Then it becomes no problem at all. And the heat is just regulated with the heat tape. Let's see. Riley, you're saying we need to just do some regular carpet themed collab lives in the future. Yeah, we ought to just go live one time and just talk about carpets, Riley. It's a good idea. People always have lots of carpet questions. This scrub python is all over the place, you guys. Douglas is all over. Shoot, what did I do here? Okay. David Hogstrictors sent a super chat. Thanks, David. Hey, Bob, Merry Christmas to you and all the snakes. The black-headed python's cages looking kind of bare. Yeah. They still wreaking havoc, huh? Yes, they absolutely are. Thanks for noticing. There, whoops. So you can see Maya's here on, hang on. You can see Maya's right here, and she does have one plant that's alive. And Banjo's is here. He's got more stuff living. Actually, it looks worse on camera than it actually is. But both of them are problematic for plants surviving. But I'm still trying. I'm still trying with those two. Let's Oh, wait, hang on. There's another super chat. And then I'm thinking about maybe getting these guys fed. So maybe we'll do some snake feeding here in a moment. Joe Rosenfeld says, my boy is 6 months. He's been with me for 1 month. I get it. So you've had him for a month. Is from breeder, kept in a rack, little interaction. He eats great. I can't seem to get him to be less defensive. Yeah, I mean, 1 month is not very long. So just I've got videos on socialization that will help. There are techniques that you'll learn in those videos where you can just do some gentle stuff. But it's going to take more than a month. So it takes time and patience. And also a lot of times, it's a 6-month-old snake that hasn't been worked with at all. Sometimes they just need to grow a little bit. My guess is it's probably small. Most of these, especially if you got it from a big breeder, a lot of these larger breeders do maintenance feeding with their snakes. So he probably hasn't eaten a ton. And so once they get a little size on them, they get used to you a little bit, they'll start to come around. But it'll take a few months at least, So it just takes time with snakes, Trailer Wizard, thanks for the super chat. I'm 5 grams, I'm guessing you're saying grams, of quail Reptilink this week. Maybe ordered 5. Hang on, let me read this whole thing and I'll try to figure out what. For my 6-month-old ball python, why you said he needs more other food source. He's not a big eater. Okay, I'm not sure what the question is here, but it sounds like you ordered quail Reptilinks for a ball python. So Reptilinks are not recommended for ball pythons. And the reason is that they probably are not going to take them. Especially if your snake isn't a big eater, he's probably not going to recognize those as food. Unfortunately, Reptilinks are not cheap, and so hopefully you haven't put the order in yet. But even on the Reptilink site, they say that it's not recommended for ball pythons. Now, I will say this: spoiler alert for a video that's coming up. I talk about this specific thing that if you have a ball python, you want to just keep them on rodents. Don't try to give them quail, Reptilinks, chicks, stuff like that. Some will eat those things, but most of them won't. And you just don't want to rock the boat. If you have a snake that's eating rats or mice, a ball python that's eating rats or mice, you don't want to rock the boat. In that video, I do try to offer a quail and a Reptilink to my ball pythons. And my guess was that I could probably get someone to take a quail, but I didn't think I could get someone to take a Reptilink. I'm just going to tell you the spoiler. The inspector took that Reptilink and ate it without hesitation. Like, no problem. I was shocked. Other snakes refused it, but every snake is individual, and the deal is that most ball pythons will not look at a Reptilink as food. So I would say if you have a snake that's not a big eater, figure out if it's mice or rats that snake likes, and give them that. Just give them what they like. If it's a big snake and they're eating mice, give them a couple jumbos. If it's a full-grown snake, that would be my recommendation. Katie says, somehow I ended up behind, so I had to catch up. Wanted to say yes, please collab with Riley. Oh, okay, cool. All right, we'll probably do that. We did a little video earlier. Well, maybe we'll do a live stream. Oh, actually, Riley, if you're still in the chat, I'm doing a 24-hour live stream on the 17th of January, and I'm going to have guests anyway. So you definitely should be. I would have contacted you anyway on that, but I'm telling you right now, you should plan to be in that live stream at some point during those 24 hours. It could be in the middle of the night. It could be in the middle of the day, whatever. I will be awake and in front of the camera, and we could have a carpet python chat In fact, we could even schedule that. I could even say at this time, Riley's going to be on and we're going to talk carpet pythons. Yeah. Okay. So I see that you're saying yep and noted. So connect with me. Let's talk in the next day or so. We'll plan that. I think that's a good idea. We're going to do a lot of stuff for this live stream, you guys. The 100,000 live stream, the 24-hour. We've got giveaway. Black Box Cages is giving away a 4x2x2 cage. I'm going to have a ton of guests on. We're going to have guests in the room. We're going to have guests on camera. Just a lot of stuff to try to keep me engaged and not falling asleep during 24 hours, and also trying to get me to not lose my voice, because there's no way that I can do what I'm doing right now for 24 hours. At the end of a live stream that lasts 3 to 4 hours, I'm starting to lose my voice. So there's no way that I can just keep talking for 24 hours. There's going to be a lot of doing stuff. There will be a new snake revealed. There will be a cage setup for that snake during that live stream. There's going to be, all kinds of activities. It's going to be great. We've got, hang on, we got Douglas trying to, you can't see him, but he's trying to get onto this monitor. There he is. He's just all over the place today. He's over 4 feet, this guy. He's long and skinny, and he's getting his first weaned rat tonight. You guys, you're going to see him eat a weaned rat. Let me get rid of him so that we can get that started, actually. Amy Bentley, are you available to be on camera if I put you on right now? Give me an emoji if you are. I used to be able to see her. Oh, she is. Okay, hang on. I used to be able to see Amy on camera. I had a little window that I could see her, but I can't anymore. And Amy has a life, so sometimes she's not in front of the camera. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
I'm going
How's it going?
to. It's going well, thanks. I'm going to put Douglas back, and as I do that, and I'm going to get. I'm going to run some hot water so that we can get some rodents going. So, you probably have some fascinating story to tell. Don't talk about me though, because you know that my ears are going to be off when I walk away. But if you talk about me, I will find out tomorrow when I listen to this live stream.
Why don't your ears work when you walk away?
Because they're attached to this thing, and my headphone thing is under my beard and through my shirt. Rather than taking them off, I just unplug them, and now I can't hear anything. But I'm going to listen tomorrow. I'm seeing super chats. I will get to those when I get back.
What's up, guys? What secret should we tell about Bob?
All right.
Oh, good. I hate it when he changes it so it's just me. Oh my gosh. Hi, guys. My face makes you smile, Katie. That's nice. Brady always tells me I need to have talking points prepared. And I didn't do that. So, what's up, guys? How are your holidays going? I don't have a lot of tea to spill, you guys, because I have been so busy lately that Bob and I haven't been chatting very much. So oh my gosh, my mom is calling me. So I had no idea he had a snake named Ozzy. Just didn't know that. Was shocked when he brought on a snake named Ozzy today. So I don't have a lot of tea to spill because I don't know what the tea is currently. When did I first care for a snake? So, I can tell you the first snake I ever fell in love with was my Aunt Kelly's snake. I was 2 years old, and I had an aunt who lived in the basement at my grandma and grandpa's house. And she had a pet corn snake that she was keeping in her bedroom in the closet, and it was a secret, and nobody was supposed to know that there was a snake living in the basement. And one day, my Aunt Kelly was babysitting me, and she let me play with the snake on the condition that I keep it a secret and don't tell anybody that there was a snake. The problem is that I fell in love with snakes. And and then I told everybody, if you have secrets, don't tell me. I will spill all of the secrets always. Hi.
I hope you weren't spilling secrets because
Mm,
you know that I have a lot of secrets that I
that
do
could
not
not
want to get out.
he could not have come back at a better time.
I do not want people finding out about my
He
secrets.
could not have come back at a better time for that story that I was telling.
I don't want the government finding out about my secrets, that's for sure. Or just
I
in general,
currently have
the local
8
police.
snakes.
What's that?
I'm talking to the chat room. You left me in charge.
Mhm.
Alan David 79. I have 8 snakes. I have 7 ball pythons, one of which lives in my house, but technically does not belong to me. That one belongs to Katie. That's my sister. And I have a false water cobra daughter who is doing well. I think somebody else asked. She's doing well. She's super deep in shed right now. That's why she's not here. I have 4 green room python snakes living in my house.
And Katie has one. Or one
One
of
of
those
them
4.
is Katie's.
One of those 4, yeah.
One of those 4 is Katie's.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thanks for all that, Amy. I'm going to answer these 2 super chats that I just got.
You guys know everything.
Okay, bye, Amy.
Bye.
She's in such trouble, you guys. If she told my secrets. Okay. Crisis Corp says, when are you getting a blood python? I at least would love to see you hold one. Oh, I love holding blood pythons. I think they're great. Blood pythons are the most beautiful, naturally patterned snakes in the world, possibly. They're insane. I love them. And I know that Crisis loves her blood python so much. I'm not going to get one because they're just too big. I mean, I already have some snakes that are going to get big. Douglas is going to get very long, but he's going to be thin. Blood pythons are short and fat, but they're real fat. They're like ball python body type, but fatter and longer. They're just big. Maybe if I had lots of space, I'd have one because I think they're really cool. They're just not on my list of snakes that I want to get right now because of that size. There are other snakes. There are other species of snakes that I would prefer to have if I need that size of a cage, you know. But that doesn't mean that I don't like a blood python because I do. I think they're real cool. Alan David, thanks for the super chat. Will your 24-hour live stream be recorded and will Kent make an appearance? Kent will make an appearance. Kent may, I mean, it's 24 hours. He might make a couple of appearances, but he definitely will be over that day. So he will be there. And will it be recorded? I mean, if I use this software, it actually will be recorded. I mean, regardless, it's going to go up on YouTube. I doubt that I'm going to keep it. What happens when I do a live stream is it just records on YouTube and stays there, and I keep them all up. So like this, you can watch at any time. This episode, I don't know that I'll do that with the 24-hour live stream. I might just do it and then just take it down after, because 24 hours. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it. I don't know what I should do for that. The other thing is, I believe I'm going to make this a fundraiser for US ARC. And I've got to look into that too, like how to do that. But I think you can make a live stream a fundraiser. And I think it makes sense to have it be a fundraiser for US ARC. I did look into whether you could do a live stream. I looked into this a while back, whether you could do it for 2 organizations, because my favorite non-reptile charity is Camp Del Corazon, which is a summer camp that I volunteer at. for kids with heart disease. It's the best. And I do want to do a fundraiser for them also, but I think for this 24-hour live stream where I'm celebrating 100,000 subscribers, I think USARC should be the recipient of any charity money that comes from that. So I'm going to try to do that. And I think it'll be cool. I just haven't figured out what the logistics are, but I think it's probably easy to do. Aquamaroon, thanks for the super chat. GRP content made me brave enough to own 2 ball pythons, Cinnamon and Cinnamon Sunset. That's great. Thank you so much. Question: do you have a vid on snake behavior changes around breeding season? Non-breeder plus nervous. Merry Christmas. I don't have that video because it's not a thing. There's no if you just have a pet snake that's not a breeder, there's no breeding season for that snake. There is a breeding season in Africa for ball pythons that during, I don't know when it is, probably during the rains or whatever. There's a season that they generally breed. When we have them in captivity, that season is not a thing wherever you are in the world, unless you're in West Africa with your pet snakes. So that doesn't happen. Breeding season for a ball python is when you start pairing them. So I have ball pythons that I pair year round. I have different ones that I pair at different times. And so that's their individual season. If you have a pet snake that you're not pairing, there's no breeding season for them, but their behavior will change. I have talked about in videos that snakes in general, whether it's a ball python or not, snakes' behavior will change as they grow. There's just certain times that things will change. You'll see them doing something that they used to not do, and it's good to be aware of that kind of stuff. Or maybe their attitude will shift. They'll seem more socialized, less socialized, more interested in food, things like that. And it's good to keep note of that kind of stuff, because sometimes a behavior change could signal a problem with your snake, but also it's just part of being a snake and part of probably being any animal, right? That you're going to have changes as they grow. But really the only breeding season behavior changes that I see are from some of my snakes once I start pairing them, and it's usually the males. Well, no, I mean, females change their behavior because they don't want to be out roaming around as much if it's a female that free roams, and eventually they will curl up in their hide once they're actually gravid, and they'll just sit in their hide the whole time. So I guess that's a behavior change. But there are, like the inspector, if he's breeding, he all of a sudden acts crazy. And I have a couple other males that act a little crazy when they're actively breeding, but others that don't. So that's that long answer. Thanks for that super chat. Okay. Oh my gosh. Do you see how this 24-hour live stream is going to be tough for me? I'm already yawning. It's 7:53 p.m. and I'm yawning. I tell you what, though, I will not be drinking whiskey during that 24-hour live stream. That's going to help. I'm going to try not to eat like a 3-year-old without supervision, because if I eat pizza, all of a sudden I want to take a nap, because I'm an old man, and apparently I can't eat bread anymore because it puts me to sleep. So all that stuff, like, I've got to be careful. I've got to eat right. I've got to hydrate well, not drink whiskey during that 24 hours. Maybe at night, maybe once we've gone into the back half of it at night, I can drink a little whiskey, but it's going to be a challenge for sure. Riley, you're in Northern California. You should come down in person and be in the green room for this. That's my idea. I think you should make the drive, come down and sit in the green room with me. I'm gonna have guests. I'm gonna have people come in. But yes, you're saying I'm gonna need lots of coffee. I will, although I drink coffee all day anyway, and coffee doesn't do much for me as far as keeping me awake. I have coffee right here. Green Room Python's coffee, ladies and gentlemen, from Cold Blooded Cafe. No, Cold Blooded Caffeine Company. Cold Blooded Cafe is a rodent producer. Coffee from the Cold Blooded Caffeine Company. You can get your Green Room Pythons coffee that I personally chose. Basically, I chose the blend of it. I said they sent me so much coffee. I tasted so much coffee, and finally landed on my two favorites that I wanted to blend together. So it's good coffee. It's all I drink now. It's good stuff. I like it a lot. All right. Let me see who I'm feeding. So I've got we're gonna put small rats in Maya and Banjo's cages, and I'm gonna give Douglas a weaned rat. So let's see. We can give the we can give the black-headed pythons their meals. So let's just do that. So with them, I'm disconnecting here. All right. Is there a way that I can get us closer? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to help at all. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so Maya and Banjo are snakes that eat dead animals in the wild. And so I don't really have to heat these up and pretend that they're alive for them. I just put them in their cage somewhere, and they come out and find them. So I'm turning Maya's. Maya has a wooden. Here, I'll show you what I did. I turned her tunnel upside down. Put the rat in there, kind of as a plate. She'll smell it eventually, probably pretty soon. Come out looking for it. We'll do the same thing for Banjo. We'll put his. I think Banjo must be in his sky hide right now. We're going to just put his right here. Oh, Maya's already got hers. That was fast. Okay, my question is, can you see what's going on? And is there a better view that I can give you? Not really. Actually, I think that's the best view of Maya's. Yeah. Sorry, it's not a great view, you guys. Oh, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Watch this. Watch this. I think. Oh, hang on. You know what I can do? Hang on a second. Sorry, this is probably terrible camera work right now, but it's going to be worth it. I mean, come on, that was worth the terrible camera work for a minute, right? I'm just going to do that. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just back in my seat. So a thing about black-headed pythons, if you don't know, I talk about black-headed pythons a lot on the channel, so you've heard me say this a million times, but black-headed pythons don't have, their heads are not as stretchy as all the other pythons in the world, basically. Black-headed pythons and womas don't have very stretchy heads. And so they're not, and they're eating mostly reptiles in the wild. They're eating snakes and lizards in the wild. So they're not generally taking down giant prey. So my black-headed pythons get fed small meals. You know, a small rat is very small of a meal for Maya. She's a big snake. But they get fed small meals twice a week. And that's what we do. Okay, I'm going to go be a cameraman because I set the camera in what I thought was a good position, but then Maya moved. So let me see if we can get a good shot of her. Oh, actually, I'm going to show you Banjo too. He's about to find his. So you see how he's, as soon as his tongue hits this, he'll take it. Like he knows there's something around, but if he knew exactly where it was, it would be in his mouth right now. So it takes him a minute with that tongue flicking. He's now under it. Sorry about the shaky camera, I'm just holding it. You know, it's funny. Usually with a rodent, as soon as he realizes that the rodent is there, he strikes and raps as though it's alive. But now he definitely knows it's there, and he's going around it. I wonder if he maybe is going in shed. But I think he knows that it's a dead animal, and he's just going to spend some time trying to figure out what the best location to grab it is. And he was just on the nose, right? Like he could have just opened his mouth and done it. There he is, tail first. Not the best choice. Okay, so he goes backwards sometimes. This is interesting behavior that he's not just on it right away. There we go. He's going to try it backwards. That will take him much longer to eat. He won't have nearly the success that his future girlfriend is having with her meal. What do you guys think of this camera action? I got a long cord for this for this camera so that we could have this kind of view. It used to be that for this camera, we couldn't even move it because the camera would shut off because the cord sucked. So I've been trying to upgrade equipment and just make these live streams better. Okay, so there's Maya. She got hers. I'm not going to show all of this with Banjo because it's going to take him forever to eat this thing. So we're just going back to here. Okay. There we go. Hi. I hope you enjoyed that or found it interesting. Okay, hang on. I've got a couple super chats. Let me just scroll up to make sure that I don't miss any. Reformed Reptiles 402. Thanks for the super chat. Happy holidays, Bob. My first super chat. Thanks for the vids. Oh, that's really nice. Thanks for that first super chat. I appreciate that. Glad you're enjoying the vids. Thanks for being here. Crisis Corpse, thanks for your super chat. I'm sorry, my boa is a bad influence. He eats backwards most of the time. Oh, really? That's funny. I'm trying to think. Handsome Dan has eaten backwards before. It just takes them so long. You know, it takes them so much longer. A lot of people get really worried. They think that it's going to be like a problem for them, like a medical problem. It's not at all. They do just fine. Especially with a rodent, like a rodent, it just goes down. Its waist takes much longer to eat it backwards. I think because of the hair. The hair's going the opposite way, so it just isn't easy to just slip down. The bigger problem is when they eat a quail backwards or a chick backwards, because the wings open and then that becomes a block. And but again, they still do it. They still end up doing it, and it works eventually. It just takes so long. But not a medical problem for your snake if they eat backwards. I think, you know, we see this a lot of times in like Facebook groups where somebody will post, "Oh my gosh, my snake took it backwards and now he's eating it backwards. What do I do?" And then, you know, an hour later they'll go, "It's fine, you guys. He ate it." So just not something you have to worry about too much. All right, let's give Douglas a weaned rat. He's never had a weaned rat before. And he's been eating jumbo mice. And a weaned rat is slightly larger than a jumbo mouse. Not much, but slightly. So, there we go. Hang on one second. Oh, somebody's asking about getting a strike for feeding snakes. No, feeding frozen thawed is just fine. I don't do it a lot, but I do on live streams because people people like to see it. But there's also people that don't like to see it, you know. But frozen thawed is just fine. I don't think live feedings should be shown on YouTube, and I think people get strikes for that. I definitely wouldn't show a live feeding on YouTube, but frozen thawed is. I mean, I've never gotten a strike before. I've fed lots of snakes on. Maybe I would at some point. You know, it's especially like if there was someone who wanted to complain about it, then the YouTube bot would just give a strike, and then you've got to email them and you know fight it and hope that a real person looks at your email, you know, and makes a decision. But a lot of times a strike like that is because someone complained. So hopefully nobody complains, you know. Because you could complain about anything on a YouTube video, and the bot will take care of it first before an actual person looks at it. All right, let's get Douglas his meal. This is going to take a minute. All right, I'm just going to do it. I was going to bring Amy in, but I've got to. I think what I want to do is have this. Not that camera. We need this camera up and moved over. Oh, I'll move it over by hand. Okay, so you guys can watch the snakes for just a minute. Hang on. Okay, we'll do this fast. Okay, we're going to do some hair dryer action on this. Heating this rodent up a bit. Oh, here's the problem. I want to do, you know what I'm going to try to do, you guys, is get, let's see where we're at. Okay. So I want to try and do some targeting with Douglas. And I can't hold the rat and the target and the camera at the same time. So I'm going to leave the camera there. Douglas is not used to rats. He's used to eating mice. I don't know if this will make a difference for him. There you go, bud. I think I surprised him with this. May have to thaw out a mouse later tonight. We'll try this one more time. Douglas is a good eater, but he doesn't eat everything. I got him to eat a Reptilink once, but he was in shed, and I've never gotten him to eat another one. And I got him to eat a quail once, but it was tricky to do. And now he's used to mice. So he's just trying to figure out if this is food that he can eat. There we go. He got it. So funny. As soon as he realized that it was food, he struck so fast. But it took him that long to figure it out. So we're not gonna watch that, but I mean, for those can't tell. For those that aren't used to watching snakes eat, that's pretty gross. So sorry about that. For those who aren't used to it. So for those who don't know, when you thaw out rodents, usually there's a little blood that, just because it's an animal that's been humanely euthanized, but there's a little blood that is coming out of their nose. And so you get some blood, which makes it even more gross to watch. So that's why you saw bits of blood on those animals. They're not bloody when they're frozen. They look just normal when they're frozen, but you thaw them out and then a little blood comes out. That's gross. All right. So Douglas, we'll check in on Douglas in a minute. It's going to take him a while. Oh, let's see what's going on with Banjo. Has eaten his backwards rat already. It's in the back of his neck. I would show you, but it's not interesting because he already ate it. But there he is. He's got it down. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's any others that that we wanted to feed on camera that we could do. No, I think we're good as far as snakes that we can potentially feed on camera. All right, let me see if I miss anything. Now we have the smell of food in the room, but there are some snakes that I could still get out and we'd probably be okay. Is there any snakes that you guys particularly want to see? Let's say I would say anything that's not a ball python would be problematic to get out at this point. Are there any ball pythons that you guys would like to see? Tanya says Anya or Kodiak. It's a great idea. Hey, yeah, Handsome Dan. It's got to be ball pythons. Handsome Dan, I would love to bring out, but I haven't seen him in a couple days, which means he's in shed. Kata, Anya, Kodiak, babies. All right, let me see who I got here. Kodiak is very food motivated, but we'll see. See if I can do this without getting bit. Yeah, Kodiak is all about food right now. I'm not going to pull him out. That's too bad because he's delightful. And Anya's the same way, man. Anya is nuts with food. Oh, I think she's okay, though. She's not even out of her hide right now. I think she's all right. Still going to get her with a hook. Ugh. You know, you guys probably haven't seen Anya in a while. And she's such a big girl. Especially if you just remember her from when I first got her a few years ago and she was a baby. Now she's a big mama snake. She's just a delightful, lovely personality, big mama snake. She is... had a nice clutch of babies. I kept one of them, but she had some pied het azanthic het clown babies this year. So I kept one, and the others went to some Patreon folks. It was her first clutch. Okay, so let's see. People are asking for Lydia Dietz. She's probably available. She ate. Again, this is a spoiler for a video that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Lydia Dietz ate a big quail the other day. I did not expect her to take it. I was trying to show that it's tough to get a ball python to eat a quail, and the two that I offered it to both struck. And I offered it to two snakes that I thought would be more likely than others to take it. But Evie struck and wrapped, and then she let it go. She decided it wasn't food. And then Lydia Dietz ate it. And it was big. So she's been digesting, is my point. So those of you watching this live stream now have spoilers for that video that's coming out in a couple of weeks. But that's okay. There's other stuff in that video that's not yet spoiled. Look at this girl. She's going to come up on this hat and she's a heavy snake. She's dang close to 3,000 grams. And, or maybe she's 2,500 grams, but she's definitely too big to sit on a hat. But this particular hat is very stiff, so maybe she can do it. We'll see what happens. Christina, thanks for the super chat. My 2 ball pythons had their rats tonight too. Rigatoni is also crazy about food. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, people, especially folks who are new to ball pythons, or maybe they only have one, they have this reputation that ball pythons don't like food and that they're going to be really problematic. And it's not, I mean, I would say that if someone has a snake that's off food and being a problematic eater, it's probably a ball python. But I also will say that most ball pythons love food and eat every time they're offered food with no problem. Most of mine are like that, you know. So yeah, but I would say I have more ball pythons crazy about food. This is one of them. She's the sweetest, most gentle snake, but when you offer her food, she strikes. I mean, she strikes so hard. I don't want to be bit by this snake with an accidental food bite because it would be it would not feel good. Well, she's doing all right on the hat, I guess. You know, oops. Okay. What else? What have I missed so far? I can show off. Oh, you know what I can do? I can get I think we got everything there. Let me get Lydia Dietz because we were talking about, somebody asked about Lydia Dietz, and since Anya's on my hat, we'll see how she's doing. Lydia is also nuts for food, but I think she had enough food the other day that she's probably not looking for any more. she struck as soon as I opened the tub. She struck. Hey, Mama, we're not feeding right now. We're not feeding. We're just coming out. Crazy lady. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to pull her out because of 2 problems. Number 1, she's in crazy food mode. And number 2, she's about to poop. So I'm not bringing her out. Sorry. Kata, also crazy food girl. But let's see. Let's see. Well, she might be all right. Start with the hook just in case. I never do this with Kata. I mean, I never do this with any of my ball pythons, use a hook for them. But when it's nighttime and I've been feeding and there's scent in the room, I just want to see where they're at mentally, you know? Kata is doing great. She's doing just fine. So here's this mama. Here's this pretty lady. Okay. So Kata has been coming out quite a bit lately. You know, they kind of go, they sort of, like, it's different. I don't know if it's, I mean, it definitely is different times of the year that the female ball pythons come out, because if they're in breeding season, they're not coming out. But there are certain times when, like, Kata will want to come out all the time and she'll be out. And then she'll decide that she just wants to be in her hide for 6 months or something like that, 8 months, whatever. So right now she's been out a lot more. And Anya is one that's been reclusive. She's been in her hide. She hasn't been free roaming very much. And I would like her to be free roaming because I want her to have that enrichment, but she hasn't been looking for it. So I don't, when I free roam my snakes, I make the decision based on who's up that morning. It's morning. I check on them early in the morning, and whoever's up, I just leave their, out of their hide. I mean, I just leave their tub open, and if they want to come out, they'll come out on their own. And so I'm not usually taking their taking their hide off and bringing them out and setting them down outside their tub, because that's not really what they want. I think most of these snakes are not interested in free roaming all the time. So, but Kate is looking good. She's still an overweight snake. She probably always will be, but she only gets fed once every 3 to 4 weeks. And she just was very overweight when I got her, and we've gotten her down to an okay weight, but still, she's still a fat girl, She's at a weight. I think I talked about this in a video recently that I don't think is out yet. I always forget what videos are out and which ones are just waiting to go out. But Kate is at a good weight if I was breeding her, but I'm not breeding her. So this is kind of her normal sitting weight when she's not breeding. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're probably not going to go much longer with this. But, oops, I've got, hang on. This is the one that I was trying to show. Yeah. I was trying to show the hat view. They really like the chair. They like to grab the chair. There's a lot of places they can go on that thing. They can hang on to it, do whatever they want. So I'm just going to let them, do their thing, and just let them free roam, sort of. But I'm going to keep an eye on them. So there we go. All right. Hang on. Amy, I'm going to bring you up. Oh, you are there.
I was giving you a thumbs up like this, but I forgot you can't see me.
I can't see you. Yeah. I was taking a chance. Hi, Amy. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Is there anything else you want to say on this live stream? Or is there anything that you think I've missed?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I think we did good. Oh, I got some super chats to get to.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to some super chats, and then we'll probably end it shortly. So,
okay.
All right. Here we go. Oh, wait. Amy was just saying Merry Christmas. Go ahead and say it, Amy.
Hi, friends. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Okay. Are you done saying stuff? You're not going to say anything and I'm going to cut you off? Okay.
Probably not.
Okay, I'm closing it right now. Crisis Corpse. I love white snakes. I love Kata. Yeah. Thanks for that super chat. Yeah, me too. White snakes are cool. That's why Dave is so cool. Dave is a reticulated python who's an all white snake that lives in that cage right down there. But yeah, Kate is great. She is. I can't turn my head because Anya has my hat. Let me see if I can get her at least off my hat. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. We're going to get to these other super chats in a second, you guys. I want to see where these snakes are. Okay. So is this Kata? Yeah. Okay. I've got them both here. I'm going to show you. They're right there. I just couldn't see it. Anya wants back on my hat. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to do these super chats. We'll let the snakes do what the snakes want to do. Fizzy, thanks for the super chat. I've cracked the code for our worst eater ball python. He was so hit and miss. We figured out that we should let him out and handle him, then put him away and offer food later. That night, he's eaten every time. Oh, that's really great. That's awesome that you figured that out. This is kind of like when people say that they take their snake for a drive and then they feed him that night, that like driving in a car is the trick to feeding them. And I've always thought that it's probably not the drive, but it's probably just an adventure, that they go on an adventure and then they get some food, you know? And it seems like this is kind of the same thing. You take him out, handle him, give him a little adventure, give him some food. Now I got Kata in my lap, crawling over my leg. Say hi to Kata. There we go. Miss Kata doing her thing. Okay, let's see. Katie, thanks for the super chat. My king snake brumates himself. Not a breeder, but stops eating every October till March. No temp changes in the room. Had him since a yearling. Yeah, you know, sometimes snakes will just do that, you know. They'll decide that these are the months that I'm not going to be eating. And I think for a lot of species, that's the common thing in the wild, just because of food availability, you know, that they just don't eat during these times. And snakes are designed for that, right? They're built to survive without eating all the time. They're cold-blooded, so they don't have to eat like mammals. Most of the calories that we burn are being burned by keeping our temperature regulated, and they don't have that. So they don't need calories like that. And they're designed to be able to go without food for a long time. That's why they've been so successful. They've been around in the same form since before dinosaurs, which is pretty amazing. Monica, thanks for the super chat. I missed most of the live. It will be posted. Hey, asking if it'll be posted. Yes, it will, but we could just start over if you want. Should we start over, you guys, and just do the whole thing over again? Monica. Yes, Monica, it will be posted. It just stays up on YouTube, so people can always watch it later. Okay. You guys, I think we did it. We did this live stream. The next live stream you see will be the 24-hour one. Am I nervous about it? Yeah, I am. There's a lot of planning to be done, and I'm nervous about the actual day of staying up 24 hours. I am not a young man. I'm not saying that I'm old, okay? But I am saying that I'm not a young man, and I do not do 24-hour benders. I don't stay up 24 hours. I don't know how this is going to go. I hope some of you are with me for it, at least for short periods of time. I don't expect people to be there the whole time, but I think people will jump in and out and just see how things are going. And especially towards the end of it, people will be curious to see if I'm surviving. So, Ghosty Gooey, thanks for the super chat. Hello, you've been a huge help on my snake keeping venture with my sweet baby ball. I was wondering if you had talked about this. Sorry. So I'm general. It's best not to let male balls to free roam. Oh, you're asking if male ball pythons can free roam. Yeah, they absolutely can. Just if they're an adult, if they're sexually mature, you don't want them free roaming with other snakes. So you don't want them to free roam with another sexually mature male, because they'll combat, and combat is not, you know, it's they basically knock their necks together. They're not biting each other or injuring each other, but it's stressful for them. So you don't want them to go through that. And you don't want them to free roam with other female ball pythons, because breeding behavior will happen. And you probably don't want that happening just in your room. So definitely free roam them if they're up for it. because it's really good enrichment. I highly recommend it, but have them, if they're sexually mature, have them do it by themselves. So a sexually mature male ball python could be like a year old. I don't recommend breeding them at a year old, but they could be doing those behaviors at as young as like a year old. So, it sort of depends on the snake, but I am a big advocate of free roaming. If you have a snake that wants to do it, I don't make my snakes free roam, but if they're adventurous and they like doing it, it's really great enrichment for them. So there's that. All right, I think we're done with this, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the 17th for the 24-hour live stream starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time on January 17th. Hope you all have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all that stuff. Bye, everybody.